advanced tools. Junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 101. No way, I'm such a dog. Another 2 months passed in the blink of an eye, and Fangxi found that she had reached a bottleneck in her cultivation. No matter how you practice, there is no side change in the meridians and the 4 spiritual roots. She thinks it should be adjusted. So, instead, he spent most of his time practicing swords. Although the wooden sword still looked half dead, Fangxi insisted on relying on his own speed to increase the speed of the sword several times. On this day, Fangxi came to find Jun Wen to practice sword with her. Jun Wen was taken aback. Why did junior sister's sword speed so much faster? Could it be that this broken wooden sword has been enlightened? During the break, Jun Wen casually said, Junior sister, I think you have almost mastered Xuanshan swordsmanship. Shouldn't it be time for you to think about your ultimate move? The so-called ultimate move is a move that has been honed out through one's own perception of swordsmanship, and one must realize it by oneself, and others cannot help. This depends on understanding. Some people realize that the ultimate move is very powerful, and some people realize that it is mediocre. But on the whole, it is definitely more powerful than ordinary moves, but it also consumes more spiritual power, so it will not be used lightly. Fangxi no longer has this trouble. Her cultivation method is different from others. She can replenish her spiritual power from the outside world anytime, anywhere, and her ultimate moves can be used at will, with no limit. Don't mention it, she really almost forgot about the big move. So, from this day on, she began to think about the big move. She also deliberately observed other people's big moves. Junwen's big move is 10,000 swords returning to 1. After using it, the spiritual power turns into a huge sword and descends from the sky, and the attack power is more than tripled. Jiangji's ultimate move is Sky Net, which turns spiritual power into a huge net to envelop the enemy. Although the attack power is only doubled, the attack range can be tripled. The other people's ultimate moves are various, but generally they either expand the range of spiritual power attacks, or increase the speed and attack power. Fangxi thought about it for 7 days and 7 nights, and finally realized her big move. Pidian came to Jiangji to discuss. As for why he didn't look for Jun Wen, this guy felt that his ult was too powerful and Jun Wen couldn't bear it. Jun Wen. In the mid-stage of the 4th floor, can't bear your big move. I want to see what your ultimate move is. Jiangji was also very curious and began to practice with Fangxi. Although Jiangji suppressed his cultivation, it was after all the middle stage of Jindan, and Fangxi soon fell into a disadvantage. This guy smiled charmingly. Brother, I'm going to use a big move, be careful. Jiangji heightened his vigilance, but Fangxi's spiritual power turned into a big character, kneel. Jiangji. What the hell is this? Next, all the 13 strokes of the word, kneeling, turned into big hands and patted Jiangji. More than half of them went on their hind legs. Once you get a shot, you must kneel down. Jiangji was taken aback, but with his cultivation here, he avoided it calmly. But if it is replaced by a person in the early stage of foundation establishment, it may not be easy to avoid. Just as he was about to make a few comments, Fangxi swung his sword again, and the word, kneeling, appeared again. The strokes still turned into big hands and patted Jiangji. Just as Jiangji dodged, Fangxi's spiritual power turned into the word, kneeling, again. Ellipsis. After doing this 6 times, Fangxi's nose started to spurt blood. Had to stop. The guy sighed regretfully. Brother, I can only use 6 big moves in a row now, am I too useless? Jiangji, who had been forced to restore his cultivation to the golden core stage. Jun Wen at the side silently wiped the cold sweat off his brow. Thanks to junior sister for not choosing me, otherwise I would have knelt down. Let's not talk about anything else, this little junior sister's big move is too damaging. Others' big moves are terrible, but she even wants the dignity. Little did I know that Fangxi thought so. How many times I knelt down to my patriarch, I would take it back from others thousands of times. No way, I'm such a dog. Besides, how unique is her big move? It must be the only one in the world of cultivating immortals. No matter who it is, kneel down and call me Baba. Jiangji didn't speak for a long time, then went back to retreat silently. If he doesn't work hard, he may have to kneel down to his junior sister in the next spa. He can't afford to lose this man. Jun Wen also hurried back to practice. Originally, he was a little flustered because of the epiphany, but now he was startled awake. Then, Fangxi lost 2 sparring partners. This guy had no choice but to find the golden retriever Suanni as a training partner. The big eyes of the golden retriever Suanni suddenly lit up. Although it has a better impression of Fangxi now, it doesn't mean that it has forgotten what Fangxi dug a hole to make it kneel before. The place that should be found still needs to be found. So, happily fought with Fangxi. Then, dumbfounded. What kind of big move is this? Unheard, unseen. However, it doesn't care, no matter how strange the big move is, it is useless to it, it is the cultivation base of the nascent soul middle stage. Until it saw Fangxi throwing the word, kneeling, 6 times in a row, it started to sweat. Although it is still able to do a job with ease, what if there are 60, 600, kneeling, characters? Regardless of whether it is sweating or not, Fangxi has found a good training partner, and if he has nothing to do, he will come to learn from the golden retriever Suanni. In the beginning, the big hand that turned into the word, kneeling, couldn't even touch the hair of the golden-haired dog. Later, as she could release more and more, kneeling, characters, she could occasionally grab a handful of golden-haired dog's hair. The golden retriever Suanni is now practicing desperately every day, for fear that one day he will be bald. One day, when Fangxi was playing happily with the golden retriever Suanni, Xiao Beidao called her over. Jiangji and Jun Wen are also there. Xiao Beidao looked quite serious. I don't know how the demons know about the Wooming City, and they're going to send a mission to find out about it. Although we humans and demons have often had friction in recent years, we haven't broken our faces yet. Therefore, after discussion among the 4 of us, we decided to welcome him warmly. Fangxi was not surprised by this. It is impossible for the demons to have eyeliners in the human race. It may be that they heard about the Wombing City through some channels. At this time, Xiao Beidao continued. The reception location is set at Hunyuanzong, so the three of you get ready and come with me to Hunyuanzong in a few days. When Fang Shi heard that she was going to Hunyuanzong, she curled her lips slightly. Hunyuanzong, tremble. Fang Shi, aback. I'm too tired today, update 2 chapters first, and add another chapter at noon tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 102 Little junior sister has turned into a butterfly. Today, it's the day of departure. When leaving the mountain gate, Fang Shi knelt down to the patriarch, willingly, as usual. Everyone in the Xuanshan sect gave thumbs up secretly. This child Fang Shi is really respectful to the patriarch. Every time I go in and out of the mountain gate, I will kneel and worship, and never fall down. Who knows that someone is already going to die of anger in his heart? Silently made up her mind, she must find a few unlucky people to kneel down for her when she goes to Hunyuanzong this time. After leaving the mountain gate, Fang Shi put on her seat belt, screamed and disappeared from the sight of everyone in Xuanshan. Everyone in the Xuanshan sect, this child Fang Shi has been different from others since he was a child, and he has always been so different. The four master and apprentice chatted while wielding their swords, but they didn't feel that the journey was boring. It's just that someone uses various excuses to rub other people's flying swords from time to time. After traveling all the way, the four masters and apprentices finally arrived outside the Hunyuanzong mountain gate. Elder Ge of the Hunyuanzong Law Enforcement Hall led his people to greet him outside the mountain gate. Elder Ge was in a complicated mood. A few months ago, Fang Shi was still a disciple of Hunyuanzong's handyman, a little waste whose dantian was severely damaged. But now, she is not only a true disciple of Xuanshan, but also has made outstanding achievements repeatedly, and is known as a model of the human race. However, thinking that Shen Jilin had not only obtained the treasure of Cloud Firmament Sect, but her cultivation level had also risen all the way, and she even became a mysterious talisman maker some time ago, the inexplicable regret in her heart disappeared without a trace. Thinking of Fang Shi's eloquence, he specially told the people who came with him not to conflict with her, lest it would end badly. Therefore, when Fang Shi and his four masters and apprentices arrived, everyone in Hunyuanzong showed great enthusiasm, and no one could find any faults. Elder Ge was originally worried that Fang Shi would find fault, but the little girl kept smiling and treated him very respectfully. Elder Ge breathed a sigh of relief, and took the four masters and apprentices to the main hall of Hunyuanzong. Bailey Muchen leaned away from his seat and exchanged greetings with Xiao Beidao, and then the host and guest took their seats. Fang Shi and the others are juniors, so they can only stand behind Xiao Beidao. Mu Zawai and the others who were standing opposite were a little uncomfortable. Although they were at odds with Fang Shi had saved them after all, so they didn't know how to face Fang Shi for a while. Lu Shuhan's face was gloomy, he lowered his head and didn't know what he was thinking. Only Shen Jilin was missing. Bailey Muchen said some polite words, and then said, Master Xiao, I just got the news that something happened to the demon mission on the way, so we delayed our arrival for a few days. Headmaster Lu and Headmaster Hu turned back temporarily after getting the news. Anyway, they came by flying boat, and it didn't take too long to go back and forth. Don't worry about it, it's too time-consuming to go back and forth, so just stay in our Hunyuanzong. Bailey Muchen's words made people feel a little uncomfortable, both inside and outside the words were satirizing Xuanshan's reluctance to take the flying boat. In the past, Xiao Beidao would definitely feel uncomfortable, but now he is no longer what he used to be. From his apprentice, he learned a very valuable lesson. As long as you are not embarrassed, others are embarrassed. It's good to stay for a few days, after all, Hunyuanzong's food is very good, if you don't eat for free, you won't eat. So, he said with a smile, our Xuanshan sect is too poor, and we really don't want to take the flying boat, so let's bother. Bailey Muchen. This old thing is getting more and more shameless. After saying a few words in a neither salty nor insipid manner, someone set up a banquet to welcome Xiao Beidao's master and apprentice. Among the four masters and apprentices, only Jiang Ji couldn't let go, and the other three threw off the cheeks. Fang Shi even said shamelessly, Master Bailey, I think the mushroom meatballs and the braised venison wing are delicious, and the lotus leaf cake is also delicious. Pack some for us when we leave. Bailey Muchen, okay. Not only do I provide you with free board and lodging, but I also have to pack it for you to take away. For a moment, he felt like he was being taken advantage of. Fang Shi eats it with confidence, but Hunyuanzong still owes her more than 9,000 million spirit stones, which is not even enough for interest. After the meal, Bailey Muchen asked the four of them to be sent to the guest house. Xiao Beidao has a room, Zhongwen and Jiang Ji have a room, and Fang Shi has a room. Hunyuanzong's guest house is even more luxurious than that of Yushumen. There are spirit gathering arrays and isolation arrays in each courtyard, which can be activated by placing spirit stones. There are even 4 handymen arranged in the guest house for dispatch. The 3 of Xiao Beidao were not used to having strangers in the yard, so they let the servants leave. Then, Fang Shi called everyone into her yard. Some massaged her legs, some massaged her shoulders, some cleaned her, and some specially told her new things. Fang Shi was very interested in what was new about Hunyuanzong, and listened with great interest. Although she was also a disciple of Hunyuanzong before, she has been concentrating on cultivation and doesn't care about these things at all. Later, after she was killed by Shen Jilin, she didn't bother to listen to these anymore. Fang Shi had almost heard it, and then sent them away, but when they left, each of them gave them a bottle of hemostatic pill. Although it is not worth much, it is already a very important gift for a handyman. All of them were grateful, and said in their hearts, no wonder Fang Shi is called a model of the human race, look at how generous they are. They have worked for Hunyuanzong's direct disciples a lot before, no fart. The next morning, Bailey Muchen asked Xiao Beidao to taste tea and discuss the Taoism, while Mu Zuai and the others took Fengxi and the others to visit the sect. Jiang Ji and Zhongwen came to Hunyuanzong for the first time, although they didn't show it on the surface, they were still very emotional. No wonder it is said that Hunyuanzong is the head of the 4 sects, and it is indeed much stronger than Xuanshnong in all aspects. This is a fact and has to be admitted. Fengxi didn't feel much, after all, the original body was a disciple of Hunyuanzong before. After turning around, Lu Shuhan proposed to take them to the Sword Mountain of Hunyuanzong. In fact, Hunyuanzong's Jianshan and Xuanshnong's Wanjianbi are similar, they're both places where the founder of the mountain used to seal up the spirit sword. Fengxi's eyes flickered slightly. Yesterday a handyman told her that since Shen Zhilan took the Jinggong sword from Jianshan, Jianshan has often been haunted. From time to time, the buzzing of the sword could be heard, and occasionally there was the sound of whimpering, and some people even saw figures moving at night. Bailey Muchen made a thorough investigation, but they couldn't find out why. However, after a long time, seeing nothing abnormal, no one paid any attention to this matter. In addition, there is a deep ravine between the Sword Mountain and the sword-fetching platform, which is bottomless, and no one knows what is below. However, those who take the sword will deliberately stay away, so there is no danger. Based on these new events, Fengxi judged that Lu Shuhan must have done nothing wrong. So, she said, Jianshan is similar to our Xuanshnong's Wanjianbi, I'm not interested, let's go to another place. Mu Zuai said with a smile, okay, then let's go to the mountain behind Dongfeng. It's the season when the golden peony flowers are blooming, and it's so beautiful. Fengxi agreed with a smile. Lu Shuhan gritted his teeth and remained silent. When they arrived at the back mountain of Dongfeng, everyone saw a sea of flowers. The color of the golden peony flower is gorgeous and colorful, just like the clouds in the sky. Fengxi ran into the sea of flowers and asked Zhang Wen to use the photo stone to leave a beautiful moment for her. Zhang Wen was taken aback for a moment. He still remembered that when they met for the first time, the junior sister was thin and small, her face was as pale as a little ghost. But this time, the small face was as white as jade, with 2 dimples when she smiled, she was indescribably delicate and lively, and her height was also raised a lot. It turned out that little junior sister had unknowingly turned into a butterfly. Then, he saw a big moth rushing towards Fengxi not far away. Happy weekend everyone, continue in the early morning. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 103 I am your invincible and cute little junior sister. When Fengxi saw Zhang Wen's eyes, she knew that there was something behind her. She was standing in the sea of flowers at this time, and the normal person's first reaction was affirmative, and she jumped up on her toes. If this is the case, the big moth behind will be blocked, and Fengxi's life will be in danger. But Fengxi saw that Jiang Ji's mouth shape seemed to be the word, no, she almost subconsciously knelt on the ground, or, sliding kneeling. Even if there are flowers and branches blocking her, she can jump out as far as a foot. Thank God, thank you, patriarch, let her master new skills. After Fengxi fell to his knees, Jiang Ji's big move, Qian Luo Dainet, also arrived, enveloping the big moth so as not to attack Fengxi again. Mu Zuai's reaction was a little slow, but Jianmang also followed. Zhang Wen and others have low cultivation bases, so the speed is slower, and they follow closely behind. Only Lu Shuhan didn't intend to do anything. He wished he could cheer up that fluttering moth and kill Fengxi, how could he help? He even wanted to take this opportunity to sneak attack Fengxi, but he held back thinking of the consequences. At this moment, Fengxi finally saw clearly what was behind her. This is a large fluttering moth with wings stretched out a foot long. The wings are covered with patterns in the shape of human eyes, and the antennae and abdomen are covered with fine hair, exuding a faint blue light. The mouth parts are constantly moving like straws. Just as Fengxi was about to use her big move, she didn't expect that the abdomen of the fluttering moth suddenly swelled up like a ball. Jiang Ji was shocked, it's going to explode. Quick, get out of the way. Almost as soon as the words were finished, the fluttering moth blew itself up, and the huge spiritual impact flattened the entire sea of flowers. There was even a big crater blown out of its place. When Jiang Ji and the others regained their sight, they found that Fengxi was gone. Zhang Wen groaned, little junior sister must have been buried alive. Hurry up and dig. Everyone started digging in a hurry, but nothing was dug. What about people? Disappeared out of nowhere. Excitement flashed in Lu Shuhan's eyes, and he planned her to go to Jianshan, but she was so unlucky that he belched himself. This is retribution. Live it. Mu Zuai had a panicked look on his face, this person is gone, how can he explain to Xuanshnong? He didn't dare to hide it, so he quickly reported the matter to Bailey Muchen. At first, Bailey Muchen felt that the big apprentice was talking nonsense, and that if he just rewarded him with flowers, could something happen? Besides, even if a moth blew itself up, it wouldn't kill people. After confirming again and again, I believe it. He had no choice but to bite the bullet and tell Xiao Beidao about the matter. Whether it should be said or not, Fengxi's brainwashing persuasion in the recent period has been effective. Although Xiao Beidao is anxious, he is not as anxious as last time. Let's go to the scene to see the situation first. Bailey Muchen heaved a sigh of relief, but he had heard that when Fengxi had an accident at the Yushu gate last time, the old guy went crazy. If this happens, it's really not easy to handle. The two immediately brought a group of Hunyuanzong high-ranking officials to Huahai. Now it can no longer be called a sea of flowers, it is a mess. After listening to them describe the shape of the winged moth, Hall Master Ge of Chuanva Hall said in surprise. Human-eyed blue moth. This thing became extinct tens of thousands of years ago, how could it appear suddenly? The eye-shaped patterns on its wings have the effect of confusing the mind and making people fall into illusion. You are also lucky, first cover it with spiritual power, otherwise the consequences will be disastrous. Everyone's faces became serious. If it is said that the ghost fire shining aphid appeared in the Yushuman before, it can be explained by coincidence, but now the humanoid blue moth has appeared in the Hunyuanzong, this is definitely not a coincidence. I'm afraid something big will happen. Was it the devil's trick, or someone else? However, what is more important now is where did Fangxi go? How did such a good person disappear out of thin air? Elder Gu, who is proficient in formations, said, perhaps it was the spatial fluctuation caused by the self-destruct of the human-eyed blue moth, and Fangxi was carried into the crack of the void and transported to other places. This is similar to the situation where Jilin and the others transmitted Lingbao before. In some places where the power of space is not stable, a huge impact of spiritual power will cause this situation. Everyone thought what he said was very reasonable, but the question was, where did Fangxi get sent to? If it's okay to teleport to a safe area, if it's teleported to a dangerous place, wouldn't it be dead? However, Fangxi's soul lamp has been on all the time, at least it should be alive for now. Bailey Muchen thought about it, and then said to Xiao Beidao. This incident was completely accidental, no one wants such a thing to happen, and the only plan for now is to wait patiently. Fangxi's child is blessed with great fortune, so he will definitely be safe and sound. Xiao Beidao's face was very ugly, but he also knew that Bailey Muchen was right. What happened today is completely different from what happened at the Gate of Beasts, it was a complete accident. Thinking of what the little apprentice said before, he could only suppress the anxiety in his heart, and reluctantly said a few words on the scene. Bailey Muchen breathed a sigh of relief, and arranged for people to patrol here day and night, and to report in time if there was any disturbance. After returning to the inn, Zhang Wen said to Xiao Beidao. Master, don't worry, little junior sister is definitely fine. She has many ways to save her life. Let's put it this way, even if we are all dead, my junior sister will definitely be alive and kicking. Xiao Beidao, get out. Things that don't speak human language. However, with Zhang Wen's interruption, he felt a little more at ease. Zhang Wen came out of Xiao Beidao's room, inexplicably felt that there was someone around him, but subconsciously looked around, but saw nothing. He couldn't help but shook his head, it must be because the junior sister disappeared, that's why he became suspicious. Little did they know, Fangxi was by his side right now. Flying up and down around him like a giant moth. But the body is transparent. Fifth senior brother, I'm here. Look at me, I'm your invincible and cute little junior sister. Ellipsis. Unfortunately, no matter how Fangxi yelled or touched her, Zhang Wen didn't respond. Fangxi sighed, what should I do? Is it possible that I will become a Piao in the future? Lonely a Piao. Because no matter it was little black ball, or little fat bird and fire swallowing shoe, they had lost contact with her. But the 4 spiritual roots in the Danshan are still there, as cheap as ever. Fangxi decided to look around, maybe he could find a way. She floated to Bailey Muchen's study first, and at this time Bailey Muchen was discussing Fangxi's affairs with the senior officials of Hunyuanzong. Elder GE of Law Enforcement Hall said. Although this incident was an accident, it happened in our Hunyuanzong after all. If there is something good or bad about Fangxi or if there is no news about it, Xuanshnong probably won't let it go. Elder Huang from the miscellaneous hall snorted coldly. So what if they don't want to let it go? If you want to blame it, you can blame Fangxi for being unlucky. Why didn't anyone else be dragged into the space crack, but she was the only one? I think she is born unlucky, if anyone blames her, she blames herself. The fluttering Fangxi immediately made a note for Elder Huang in the little black ledger in her heart. Old stuff, you wait for me. Sooner or later, let you kneel down and call Baba. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog, chapter 104 Inside the Deep Ravine. Bailey Muchen sighed. The demon race delegation arrived soon, I didn't expect such a thing to happen. What I mean is to try to appease Xiao Beidao and let him focus on the overall situation. Let's wait for Fangxi's matter, if there is no turning point, then give some compensation. After all, I am his direct disciple, and I judge others by myself. If I suspect that something happened to them, I will not let it go. In short, it is better not to argue. Fangxi said in her heart that even though Bailey Muchen, an old fellow, doesn't have a good eye for apprentices and is relatively narrow-minded, there is nothing wrong with the general direction. Next, Bailey Muchen and the others began to discuss the reception of the demon delegation, but Fangxi was not interested, so she floated out. Because she is our Piao now, there is nothing blocking her, so she floated to Hunyuanzong's treasure house. Almost blinded. Hunyuanzong is really rich. The spiritual stones alone are piled up like a mountain, not to mention all kinds of spiritual weapons and treasures. It's a pity that she can see but not touch, so she can only look at the baby and sigh. She thought to herself that if there was really no way to recover her body, she decided to be here as a warehouse manager. At least look good. So, this guy lied on top of the pile of spirit stones and started reviewing the whole thing. After much deliberation, I still think we should start with the human-eyed blue moth. It can't have appeared out of thin air, either it was artificially placed, or it was drilled out of nowhere. After thinking about it, Fangxi thought of a place. The deep ravine in front of Hunyuanzong Sword Mountain. According to the servants, no one had ever entered the chasm. Someone threw stones down without making a sound, and it was unknown whether it was turned into dust or the ravine was too deep. Fangxi decided to take a look. Anyway, there is no other way now, but to give it a go. She was afraid that she would never come back once she left, so she floated into Xiao Beidao's yard, knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Xiao Beidao 3 times before floating away. Soon, she floated to the platform in front of Janshan. At this time, it happened to be dusk. The clouds in the sky were dyed red by the setting sun, which was gorgeous and charming. Fangxi hooked her lips, and then leaped away, floating. She wanted to jump down, but because she was so light now, she couldn't sink at all. Tried it a few times and it just won't sink. I'm almost going to die of anger. When she was at her wit's end, she saw Janshin on the opposite side. Turning his eyes, he had an idea. She floated to the front of Janshin, and then drilled in. The enchantment is useless to her now, so she got into the enchantment easily. Then this guy began to try to drill into the straight sword. Soon, he got into a straight sword. The original sword spirit trembled in fright, and directly gave up the control of the straight sword. Feng Shi was overjoyed, and controlled the spirit sword to fall towards the deep ravine. Not to mention the pride of this guy. It would be best if she could find the solution in the abyss, and it didn't matter if she couldn't find it, she would use the flying sword to communicate with her master. Then let the master find a craftsman to make a puppet body for her, so that she can still be alive and kicking. After an unknown amount of time, Feng Shi finally fell to the ground. The ground was shrouded in a faint blue light, and the ground was full of skeletons. There are human, demon, and beast. The source of the blue light is the human-eyed blue moths that are densely packed on the stone walls on both sides. Feng Shi thought to herself, that human-eyed blue moth really ran out from here. Feng Shi manipulated the straight sword to bounce around in the pile of bones. Those human-eyed blue moths all flew up after being frightened, and some even collided with each other and fell to the ground. Feng Shi took the opportunity to pierce a human-eyed blue moth with a sword, then cut off part of its wings with the sword, and used the tip of the sword as a lantern. Then controlled the flying sword to fly forward. After passing the gathering place of the human-eyed blue moth, the front was completely dark. However, because of the light from the wings of the human-eyed blue moth, Feng Shi can also see the nearby scene clearly. The ground is still full of bones, and there are many black vines on the stone walls on both sides, which looks very strange. However, they were obviously not interested in a sword, and let Feng Shi control the flying sword to fly over. Passing through this area, Feng Shi saw a piece of blue light again. The stone walls and the ground are densely packed with ghost fire and mysterious aphids that I saw at the beast gate before. It seems that it flew out from here too. Next, Feng Shi saw many strange monster insects and monster plants, but did not see any trace of monster beasts or monster birds. I don't know how long I walked, a round platform appeared in front of me, smooth as a mirror. There is a skeleton sitting on it, with the palm of the left hand facing up, and the right hand is clenched, as if it was holding something. Strangely, strands of grey mist escaped from under the skeleton, and it was unknown what it was. Feng Shi instinctively felt that the grey mist was not a good thing, and the reason why the skeleton was sitting here was probably to suppress the grey mist. By coincidence, Feng Shi manipulated the straight sword and put it in the skeleton's right hand. The next moment, the skeleton suddenly moved. Start dancing swords. Feng Shi lost control of the straight sword at this moment, and was ejected from the sword. Feng Shi. She had no choice but to obediently watch the skeleton dance sword. Honestly, it's not pretty. Every move and style was very clumsy, Feng Shi was even worried that the skeleton would fall apart. But watching her fascinated me. This set of swordsmanship is ingenious and clumsy. It seems that every move and style is very ordinary, but the combination is very mysterious. Advance can be attacked, retreat can be defended, there is not even a single loophole. She couldn't help making gestures. After practicing the skeleton 3 times, he sat back in the original position. And those grey mist miraculously did not escape again. Feng Shi wanted to get back into the straight sword, but couldn't get in no matter what. She thought about it again, well, just find a straight sword to possess her when she goes up. Seeing that there was no way ahead, she knew that this was the end. So he knelt down and said, Senior, you should be suppressing something here and saving the common people in the world, you should be worshipped by this junior. The junior has learned your swordsmanship, you have taught me the grace of teaching me, I should worship. The dead are the greatest, worship. After speaking, he kowtowed 3 times respectfully. Then, I felt a headache. Subconsciously wiped it with his hand, blood in one hand. Looking at the ground again, I don't know what monster's horn it was dyed bright red. Feng Shi was stunned for a moment, then reached out and picked up the horn. This guy is ecstatic. I have recovered. I turned back into a human. Chevron_left previous home index next Chevron_right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog, chapter 105. Feng Shi guessed that it was because of the skeleton, so she quickly knelt down and kowtowed 3 more times. This time I avoided the sharp bones, but there was no more bleeding. But this time, the voice of the little black ball came from within the consciousness. Master, what the hell kind of place is this, how can there be such a deathly silence? Feng Shi asked suspiciously, aura of death. That's right, it's the breath of death. If this thing escapes, it won't take long, and there won't be much breathing outside. I guess this round platform should be the formation disc, and this skeleton uses itself as the formation eye to seal the dead air. Feng Shi had a similar guess before, but she didn't know that the grey mist was the air of death. Feng Shi suddenly had a guess that the skeleton had been here to suppress the air of death, but someone took away the things in his hand, causing the formation to loosen, so the air of death began to escape. A small number of human-eyed blue moths and ghost fire mysterious aphids also took the opportunity to escape to the outside world. She became a Piao before, maybe it was because the human-eyed blue moth released some dead air when it blew itself up, and was sucked in by her unlucky luck. So the question is, what is the original magic weapon in the skeleton's hand? Could it be Shen Zhilan's flying rainbow sword? It might be. According to those handymen, the strange phenomenon of Janshin began when Shen Zhilan got the Fei Hong sword. And the process of Shen Zhilan obtaining the flying rainbow sword is also said to be very strange. Before she started to comprehend the power of the sword that day, a rainbow appeared in the sky, and then she had an extra sword in her hand. No one saw where the sword came from, but according to the inherent thinking, it came out of the sword mountain. Looking at it this way, it is 80 or 9 out of 10 that it is the sword in the old man's hand. As for whether it was Shen Zhilan's unintentional move or the result of planning, it was impossible to know. She said before that Shen Jilin was a bastard, it was pure nonsense, but now it seems that she was right. Isn't Shen Jilin just a broom star? Everyone was almost killed by her. However, now is not the time to think about these things, it is better to leave here as soon as possible. If nothing else, Master must be very worried. But thinking of the monster insects and plants she met along the way, Fang Shi felt her scalp tingle. Not to mention her, even the heads of the 4 sects would have to burp when they came here. How to do it? At this time, the little chubby bird said softly, Master, I should have a deterrent effect on demon insects, let me out and try. In addition, the ground fire of the fire-swallowing cat should also have a deterrent effect on Yaoji. How about you give it a try? Fang Shi felt that what it said made sense, so she decided to try it first, and if it didn't work, she would return to Yuanpan. Because she found that the area around the disc was clean, and there were no demon insects or plants. She conveniently put the monster horn stained with her blood into the storage ring, and then let the little chubby bird crouch on the fire-swallowing beast and walk in front, and she followed behind with a wooden sword ready to strike at any time. She felt that it was still not safe, so she also got out the little black ball and let it squat on her head. In case of emergency, she could use lightning to attack. After they left, the skeleton's skull turned slightly to the side, and the direction it looked was exactly the direction Fang Shi left. Fang Shi didn't know about this, she was on full alert now, her eyes were wide open, for fear of danger. Not only did she have to protect herself, she also had to protect the little chubby birds, and she didn't dare to slack off in the slightest. But this time, she kind of misses the time when she was a piao. It's better to be a piao, carefree and drift with the wind. Soon, it came to the territory of a kind of green demon insect. Those monster insects sensed that someone was approaching and began to squirm slowly, and the little fat bird made a clear clanging sound. Those monsters didn't dare to move immediately. Fang Shi was overjoyed, but she still didn't dare to relax in the slightest, and quickly passed through this area. Next is a demon planting area. Those Yaoji were also eager to move, but they seemed to be very afraid of the ground fire of the fire-swallowing beast, and they didn't dare to come within 1 foot of Fang Shi. Fang's eyes hanging heart was half relieved, and she continued to walk forward. I don't know how long I walked, and finally saw the faint blue light in front of me. We have arrived at the territory of the human-eyed blue moth. The little chubby bird made a clanging sound again, and those blue-eyed moths seemed to be a little bit unconvinced, and kept flapping their wings. Fang Shi suddenly remembered something, and put away the fire-swallowing beast, leaving only the little fat bird. Sure enough, those human-eyed blue moths became much quieter. Fang Shi couldn't help being amused, it seems that moths fighting flames are also suitable for these human-eyed blue moths. Immediately afterwards, she felt a little dazed in her consciousness, as if something was attacking her sea of consciousness. The little chubby bird also noticed it, and its singing became sharper. Only then did Fang Shi get rid of the discomfort, she guessed it might be the ghost of the blue moth with human eyes. After finishing those blue moths with human eyes, Fang Shi belatedly thought of a problem. After the formation was restarted, the prohibition here also took effect, no flying. Sure enough, after she summoned the wooden sword, she couldn't vacate at all. The little chubby bird tried several times, but at most it could only fly up to about 1 foot high, and there was no way to fly higher. The little black ball tried to turn itself into mist, but it also couldn't fly out. Fang Shi felt that she was just a little frog sitting in a well watching the sky, unable to jump out even if she wanted to. The fire-swallowing demon said, Master, I'm a small hole digger, let's go out of the hole. Fang Shi. Let's not talk about whether the demon insects here will fly out after the hole is made to harm the creatures. The key is that there is a formation here, and you can't make the hole at all. Sure enough, the fire-swallowing demon almost worn out his claws and failed to dig out the hole. Fang Shi thought of countless ways but was vetoed by herself, it didn't work at all. Suddenly, the little black ball said, Master, didn't that old guy from the Cloud Sect tell you that broken token can be used as a talisman pen, what can be used to draw the sun and the moon, mountains and rivers, and the universe, you can draw or adore yourself. Fang Shi. How the hell do you think I'm the magic pen Ma Liang? However, Fang Shi really had no choice now, so she took out the token. To be exact, it is now an ordinary talisman pen. At this moment, Fang Shi keenly sensed the fluctuation of spiritual power around her, and she almost subconsciously put the little fat bird into the spirit animal bag. Then, a white light flickered in front of her eyes, and Fang Shi disappeared in place. There was a deep sigh. Shenhe once again fell into dead silence. When Fang Shi regained consciousness, she found herself in Hunyuanzong's treasure house. This guy. Grandma is a bear, teleporting me here, isn't this torturing me? Take it, afraid of being discovered and drowned with spittle stars. Don't take it, Hunyuanzong owes her more than 9,000 million yuan. When he was struggling, the 4 spiritual roots in his danshan started to circle around hand in hand. Fang Shi. Otherwise, I am here, to practice. Good night, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 106 Fang Shi's soul lamp is brighter than before. Fang Shi did what she said, and immediately sat on the pile of spiritual stones and began to practice. This guy is very happy in his heart, the last one who can enjoy such a luxurious way of cultivation is that old devil Zhu Tianjue. However, his mine is an unmined spirit stone mine after all, and hers is even better. We are not greedy, so we will use 9,000 million spirit stones to do harm. The 4 spiritual roots in the danshan are even more successful braids. This is much richer than the aura in the hatching hole of the royal beast gate. Fang Shi also released the little fat bird, the little black ball and the fire-swallowing beast. Blessings and hardships alike. Do not smoke white, do not smoke. All fire swallowers must succeed in swallowing fire, because the other half le fei. It really is a big smart. At the beginning, it wasn't tricked by the little girl, it deliberately lured her into the bait. Often the hunter appears in the form of the prey. That's right, that's it. This is the fact. Indisputable fact. A fact that no one can change. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed since Fangxi disappeared. People from Wanjianzong and Yushimen also came to Hunyuanzong. As soon as Xingwu came, he asked about Fangxi's affairs, asked a lot of questions, and finally came to a conclusion. Little junior sister must have met another chance. Little junior sister is so lucky. Everyone. Xingwu soon discovered that Zheng Wen's cultivation had soared to the middle stage of the 4th level of foundation building, which made him soar. Just Zheng Wen, that elm head can still realize epiphany. It must have borrowed from my junior sister. I hate that my master is so stubborn that he would never accept Fangxi as an apprentice no matter what. Otherwise, I must have had an epiphany long ago, and it would be Zheng Wen's turn. Hu Wangkui didn't know that the little apprentice was complaining about himself in his heart, so he comforted Xiao Beidao. Shaoxi's kid is smart and lucky, so he'll be fine. Lu Zhengquan, the head of Wanjianzong, also said, that's right, that child Fangxi will definitely turn bad luck into good luck, and make good luck when he dies, so you can relax. Xiao Beidao barely said a few words, how could he not be worried? I can't wait to ask Fangxi 8 times a day if the soul lamp is still on. If it wasn't for the conditions, he wanted to take Fangxi's soul lamp with him in the future, so as not to worry about it all the time. I don't know if the people in the sect were annoyed by his questioning. When he asked again just now, Elder Li who guarded the soul lamp said, Master, don't worry, Shaoxi's soul lamp is not only on, but even brighter than before. Xiao Beidao felt that Elder Li was just comforting him, but the soul lamp did brighten, and that was when the spiritual consciousness became stronger by a large margin. Shaoxi has only been missing for 3 days, and his spiritual consciousness has become much stronger. This is simply not possible. The next day, the demon mission arrived. Leading the team was Li Nangxi, the left protector of the demon emperor, accompanied by Si Yuchuan, the elder of the Tudan demon clan, Ying Chanli, the elder of the shadow demon clan, and a dozen or so noble disciples. Bailey Muchen and others went to greet them outside the mountain gate in person, giving the demon mission enough face. Although the two races usually have black eyes and blue eyes, they are smiling all over their faces at this time, and they look quite harmonious. After exchanging pleasantries, the demon mission was welcomed into the main hall. After the guests and hosts were seated, Li Nangxi cupped his fists. I'm really sorry for keeping everyone waiting for so long. Originally, the road went smoothly, but I didn't expect to meet a little chance on the way, so I was delayed for a while. As soon as these words came out, Bailey Muchen and the others felt a little uncomfortable. This feeling is like the chicken raised at home laid an egg, but the owner didn't pick it up, but let the neighbor pick it up. But it's hard to say anything, so I can only say a few insincere words. Li Nangxi continued. Our main reason for coming this time is to learn about the Wuming City. Please tell us the details of the disciples who have experienced this incident that day. The four of Bailey Muchen originally discussed to let Fangxi speak, after all, this little girl is capable. But now that she is missing, everyone appointed Qin Shifeng to speak. Because compared to other disciples, Qin Shifeng's eloquence is still acceptable. As for Xingwu and Zheng Wen, they're not considered at all, even their own masters think they are unreliable. Qin Shifeng told the story in detail, but omitted the matter of Fangxi making the old man in Wuming City swear that the demon emperor was struck by lightning. After all, talking about this will definitely blow up the demon mission. After Qin Shifeng finished speaking, a young man with red hair in the demon mission said, The Wuming City belongs to our demon clan, how could that senior give the Wuming City to Fangxi? You must have deceived the senior by using shady means. What about Fangxi? Let her come out and confront us. The person who spoke was Ying Filong, who was the one who was lit by Fangxi before. At that time, not only his proud red hair was completely burnt, but his body was also severely burned. After soaking in seawater, the sour feeling will never be forgotten for a lifetime. He came here this time to vent his anger on Fangxi, but he didn't see Fangxi when he scanned the crowd just now. Many people frowned when they heard Ying Filong's words. This Ying Filong's words were too harsh. But considering the overall situation, Bailey Muchen still explained. Something happened to Fangxi a few days ago, and it is not convenient to meet with you for the time being. What Qin Shifeng said just now is completely true. After all, we don't need to tell such a lie. Besides, you should also trust the judgment of your demon seniors. How could you be deceived by a little girl? What Bailey Muchen said is very beautiful. If you hold on to it any longer, you will be doubting the brains of your demon seniors. Ying Filong still wanted to speak, but was stared at by Ying Chanli, the elder of the Shadow Demon clan, and fell silent. Li Nangxi said with a smile, I also believe that all of you are honest people and will not lie. That being the case, the matter of the Wuming City will come to an end for now. In fact, our visit this time has another purpose, which is to let the young people of the two races compete. I don't know if your human race dare to fight. These words are Qi Guguo's provocation. If you don't fight, it means that the human race is a coward. Bailey Muchen said with a smile. It's okay to have a discussion, but I'm afraid that these disciples of our human race don't know how to attack. If it hurts your people, it would be a bit inappropriate. After all, we are the hosts, how can there be any reason to hurt the guests? Li Nangxi laughed loudly. Master Bailey's words are really funny. Our demons have rough skin and thick flesh, so little flesh injury is nothing. Since you don't have any objections here, let's make gestures. As soon as the words fell, Ying Filong pointed at Zheng Wen and said, I will compete with you. Originally, he wanted to settle accounts with Fangxi, but since Fangxi is not around, he should compare with this Fangxi's senior brother. Zheng Wen smiled. Although he really felt that nothing would happen to Fangxi, he was unavoidably anxious. But he couldn't show it in front of Xiao Beidao, and he was already angry. Now that Ying Filong came to his door, he naturally wished for it. Chevron_left previous home index next chevron_right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 107. Everyone immediately arrived at Hunyuanzong's big square, where there is a ready-made arena. Zhang Wen and Ying Filong jumped onto the stage. There are many kinds of cultivation systems of the demon race, which can be said to be varied. However, the mainstream cultivation levels are generally divided into Qi gathering stage, Yuan condensation stage, demon pill stage, devil infant stage, and transformation god stage, which correspond to the Qi refining stage, foundation establishment stage, golden elixir stage, nascent soul stage, and transformation god stage of the human race. Ying Filong is in the late stage of the fourth layer of condensation Yuan, which is equivalent to the late stage of the fourth layer of foundation establishment of the human race. And Zhengwen is in the middle stage of the fourth level of foundation building, and is at a disadvantage. Therefore, Xiao Beidao's heart was raised in his throat, and his eyes were always fixed on the stage. If the situation was not good for the apprentice, he would take action immediately. As for any face and morals, go to one side. The whereabouts of the little apprentice are unknown, and the fifth apprentice must not be allowed to have another accident. Standing behind him, Jiang Ji whispered. Master, don't worry, fifth junior brother will definitely win. Xiao Beidao said thoughtfully, the eldest disciple is usually the most stable, why is he running the boat with his mouth full now? Are you sure you can win? Where did you see it? The demons already had the advantage, because the demons were physically stronger than the humans, and Ying Filong's cultivation level was a little higher than Zheng Wen's, so a tie would be good. How can you be sure to win? Seeing that the master didn't believe it, Jiang Ji didn't say anything more. His confidence comes from the beating of his younger junior sister. Although Feng Shi spent most of her time with the golden retriever Sun Ni as her training partner, she occasionally dragged the unlucky Zheng Wen as her training partner. In order not to kneel down for the little junior sister, Zheng Wen devoted his life to practicing. Let's put it this way, even talking in his sleep is a practice method. No matter how powerful this Ying Filong is, can he compare to the 10, kneeling, of the junior sister? You are sure to win. At this time, the two people on the stage had already started. Ying Filong's demonic chi turned into a mad dragon that shook its head and tail fiercely, and Zheng Wen's flying sword flew up and down with brilliance, making the fight extremely fierce. Ying Filong came this time with a lot of energy. When he was in the Endless Sea, his cultivation was at the early stage of the fourth layer of condensed essence, but he was picked up by a small waste of human race in the Qi refining stage. After returning to the demon race, he was ridiculed a lot, and he didn't even have the face to go out to meet people. He first practiced with this Zheng Wen, and then defeated a human genius, which was enough to wash away the previous shame. Therefore, when he came up, his offensive was very fierce. A quarter of an hour later, Zheng Wen fell into a disadvantage. Many people's hearts were raised. Xing Wu clenched his fists even more, and said in his heart, Zheng Wen, if you lose, you will not only embarrass the race, but also embarrass the junior sister. Grit your teeth and hold on. Among the people present, only Jiang Ji looked calm. Because he knew that it was much worse than this when Zheng Wen was attacked by Feng Shi with a series of big moves on weekdays. Under such circumstances, he can hold on, and he will definitely be fine now. When the flying dragon's magic energy is insufficient, it's time for Zheng Wen to fight back. Sure enough, with the passage of time, Ying Filong's movements slowed down, and his offensive was not as fierce as before. Zheng Wen's pupils shrank slightly, and stepped up his offensive. His figure moved around, each sword aimed at Ying Filong's vital parts. Ying Filong panicked. Why is this gentleman so troublesome? If I knew it earlier, I would have picked someone else. His demonic energy and physical strength are severely depleted, and he must be dealt with quickly. It's better to go straight to the big move. So, he shouted loudly, the dragon enters the sea. The body of the dragon transformed by the demonic energy more than tripled in size, and rushed towards Zheng Wen. Xiao Beidao was ready to make a move, but he never expected that his precious fifth apprentice would avoid Jialong's claws with a swipe. The speed was so fast that he, the master, was stunned. Breathtaking. Isn't Xiaowu the fourth floor of foundation building? Why is this movement faster than the foundation building 8th floor one? Zheng Wen thought while avoiding it, just kidding, I can dodge the 10 kneeling characters and 130 strokes of my junior sister, you are a fart. Ying Filong was completely dumbfounded. When his dragons were about to disperse, Zheng Wen used his big move, 10,000 swords returning to one. A huge sword fell from the sky and hit Ying Filong straight. If he had just started the competition, Ying Filong would definitely be able to dodge it, but now that his stamina and magic energy have been severely depleted, he can't dodge at all. There is only one way, and that is to jump off the ring and admit defeat. Face and life can only choose one. He gritted his teeth and jumped off the ring. Zheng Wen won a complete victory. He thought of his junior sister's usual demeanor, so he stood with his hands behind his back. Some people may not know me, right? I am Xuanshnong's direct disciple Zheng Wen, Feng Shi's fifth senior brother. Although my skills are average, it is still a piece of cake to deal with a demon clan in the late stage of the condensed fourth layer. Xiao Beidao glared at him, then smiled and said to Li Nanek. Guardian Li, I made you laugh. My 5 apprentices are the most useless of all my apprentices. They only know how to do tricks, but they don't have any real skills. Li Nanek. He had dealt with Xiao Beidao before, and in his impression, this head Xiao was a very serious person besides being a bit stingy. Why is it so hated now? However, he was even more annoyed that Ying Filong didn't live up to his expectations. You are a small level higher than others, but you lost, it's just a piece of trash. No wonder it was lit as a candle at the beginning. Who do you order? At this time, someone behind him jumped onto the high platform. Zheng Wen, I'm making gestures with you. The person who spoke was named Si Che, a nobleman of the Dunmo clan, at the late stage of the 5th level of condensation Yuan. If it was the former Zheng Wen, even if he knew he was no match for him, he would still stand up for the sake of face. But he is no longer the former Zheng Wen. He is now Niu Kalu. Jun. Shameless. Smell. He clicked his tongue and said, don't you demons know how to write the word face? How unconfident you guys are to compete with someone with a low cultivation base for 1 or 2. I'm tired, I don't have time to play with you. See you later, you. After speaking, he jumped off the ring directly. Xiao Beidao didn't feel ashamed at all, and was quite relieved that Xiao Wu has grown up. Even Jiang Ji, who is strict in doing things, thinks that there is nothing wrong with what the younger brother is doing. Therefore, the 3 masters and apprentices had the same proud expressions. Other people. In the past, these people from Xuanshan all wanted to save face and suffer, pure and stubborn. Ever since Fengxi left, this style of painting has completely gone astray. There is one more chapter. After finishing writing, it will be posted at about 1 o'clock. Closed black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 108 missing the 58th hour of junior sister. Si Che had a gloomy look on his face. He just couldn't understand Jun Wen's arrogance, that's why he came on stage. Now being told by Jun Wen, it seems that he is bullying. I'm in the late stage of the 5th level of condensation yuan. Which human arrogance of the 6th or 7th level of foundation building will make gestures with me? What he said was very arrogant, and it was obvious that he was going to step up the challenge. Lu Shuhan jumped onto the ring. He is in the middle stage of the 6th level of foundation building, and he feels confident that he can beat Xi. Speaking of which, among the several apprentices of Bailey Muchen, although he is ranked 2nd, his cultivation is not as good as the 3rd and 4th juniors. So, I have always tried to express myself. Especially when he was cheated by Fengxi several times before, Bailey Muchen's impression of him changed drastically, and he urgently needed a victory to regain Bailey Muchen's attention. He didn't regret it until he started fighting with Xi. Although Si Che is at the late stage of the 5th level of condensation yuan, he is actually an innate magic pupil. During the fight, his originally black eyes turned purple, which was breathtaking and capable of attacking with consciousness. When Lu Shuhan's consciousness was attacked, his moves were somewhat scattered, and within a quarter of an hour he was completely at a disadvantage. He was afraid of being seriously injured again, so he gave up directly. Si Yuchuan, the elder of the Dunmo clan, said with a smile. Master Bailey, you are a disciple who knows the current affairs. Bailey Muchen almost died of anger. But it was hard to say anything in front of so many people, so I had to ask who wanted to compete with Xi. For a while, no one answered. It wasn't that he was afraid of Xi, but the main reason was that many of the direct disciples present had been seriously injured in the polar ice field before and hadn't recovered yet. The uninjured cultivation bases are all around the 3rd or 4th floor of the foundation building, and they will lose if they go up. Musawai and the others are sure to win, but they're all in the Jindan period and it is difficult to make a move. The scene was a little embarrassing for a while. At this moment, a white shadow came slowly. Bailey Muchen's eyes lit up immediately. Jilin, have you left the customs? Shen Jilin retreated shortly after returning from the polar ice field. At this time, the cultivation base is already at the late stage of the 5th level of foundation building. After Shen Jilin saluted, she said, Master, this disciple is willing to fight this devil's genius. Bailey Muchen was a little worried, but seeing the confidence in her eyes, she agreed. Shen Jilin jumped onto the ring. His face was as cold as ice. She sized her up, you are Shen Jilin. Shen Jilin nodded indifferently. It's useless to talk too much on the ring, let's do it. A look of inquiry flashed in Si Chu's eyes, and he nodded, okay. The two immediately raised their hands. Shen Jilin's white clothes are like a fairy, and the Fei Hong's sword is shining with colorful brilliance. No matter who looks at it, she must praise her with a fairy air. Si Che didn't give in too much here. He was handsome in himself, and coupled with the unique gloomy temperament of the demons, it added a bit of charm. For a while, it was evenly matched. Si Che was a little anxious after fighting for a long time, and Xin Yihang used the big move, a tiger with wings. The tiger transformed by the devilish energy instantly sprouted wings, descended from the sky, and went straight to Shen Jilin. Shen Jilin didn't dodge, and in an instant, the Fei Hong's sword gave birth to a sword glow, and slashed at the tiger. The tiger was cut in two and turned into nothingness. The sword light didn't dissipate, and went straight to Si Shi. Seeing that Si Shi was inevitable, Shen Jilin withdrew the sword glow. Si Che took a deep look at her and got off the ring. Shen Jilin looked towards the demon race. Which one is here to fight? There was no movement from the demon race. Those in the magic pill stage were embarrassed to come on stage, while those in the condensed yuan stage were afraid of Shen Jilin's sword glow. Shen Jilin on the ring had a look of indifference on her face, but she was ecstatic in her heart. The Fei Hong sword is really extraordinary. With the blessing of Janmang, not only is she invincible at the same level, but she can also challenge at higher levels. It's not in vain for her to spend so much effort. Many people gave Shen Jilin a thumbs up. She actually cultivated the sword glow during the foundation building period. As expected of a genius with top quality water spread roots. If Bailey Muchen hadn't been reserved, you would have laughed like an old walnut. Jilin really lives up to expectations. Therefore, qualification is the most important thing. That Fengxi is smart, but what's the use? Its whereabouts are still unknown, and it may not be teleported to a mouse hole. Seeing that the demons had no one to fight, Li Nang's eyes flickered slightly. Master Bailey, everyone, this kind of competition is meaningless. Why don't we change the method? Here I have a secret treasure from the ancient times, which can be used by both humans and demons. As Li Nang said, he took out a small black flag, which looked ordinary. The ancient elder of Hunyuanzong exclaimed, is this the Chankan flag? Li Nang smiled and said, Elder Gu is indeed well informed. Yes, this is the legendary Chankan banner. There are many levels here, which can be entered under the Yuanying stage and the magic infant stage. There will be generous rewards every time you pass a level, and there are all kinds of magic weapons. In addition, it is rumored that the Chankan banner contains the energy of the heavens, and if someone can discover the secrets of the heavens, they will benefit immensely. Why don't we let the Tianjiao of the two races go in for a trial? What do you think? The four of Bailey Muchin looked at each other. How can there be such a good thing as a pie in the sky? If it is really as good as he said, it can still make them take advantage of the human race. Li Ninek saw their thoughts and said, to be honest, the Chankan banner requires the joint efforts of the human race and the demon race to open it, and each of them must have 3 god transformation stages. We really can't gather 3 human races of the transformation stage, so we want to take this opportunity to let the 2 races go in for a trial. Of course, the final decision is in your hands. If you feel unsafe, forget it. The 4 of Bailey Muchin were in a dilemma. Come in, for fear of getting tricky. Don't go in, I'm afraid we'll waste the opportunity. To enter or not to enter. At this time, Shen Jilin said, Master, this is a rare opportunity to practice, and I want to go in and have a try. Hearing what she said, many people also expressed the desire to try. Cultivation is not a smooth path. If you look forward and backward, you are destined to not go far. Seeing this, the 4 of Bailey Muchin were heartbroken. No matter what, this is the territory of the human race, so forgive Li Nangxi for not daring to play tricks. A secret joy flashed in Shen Jilin's eyes. She was bound to win the heavenly aura in the Chankan flag. Seeing that the human race agreed, Li Nangxi said, after all, it is the secret treasure of our demon clan, so the number of you entering cannot exceed ours. Is there any objection to this? Bailey Muchin and the others felt that this request was not too much and agreed. 12 people are going to enter on the demon side, and there are exactly 3 places in one sect on the human side. Xuan Shnong had only Jiangji and Zhongwen on their side, so they gave up the extra spot to Yushuman. Xingwu wanted to go in very much, but he was still injured, and Hu Wankui didn't even consider giving him a place. Xingwu thought to himself, it would be great if the little junior sister was here, and she would definitely find a way to take me in with her. Ugh. I miss the 8 hours of my junior sister. Good night, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 109. Even if she is not around, there is still her legend here. Before the opening of the Chankan banner, Li Nangxi said seriously. Everyone, no one has ever entered the Chankan banner. What we know is only recorded in the classics. There may be greater opportunities or unknown dangers. In addition, according to the ancient records, once the Chankan banner is opened, it can only be closed after 49 days, and there is no way to exit halfway. So you have to think carefully before going in. To put it bluntly, if something goes wrong, you humans don't blame us demons. Bailey Muchin said with a smile, naturally. In the same way, if something happens to your demon disciples, don't blame us humans. Li Ninek nodded. Since there is no objection, let's open the Chankan banner. There are just 3 god transformation monks on the demon side, and there are a dozen or so on the human side, but for the sake of safety, it was finally decided to let Xiao Beidao, Lu Zhengquan and Hu Wankui open it. The 6 Huishan powers sat cross-legged according to their positions, formed seals at the same time, and then injected spiritual power or magic energy into the Chankan banner. The Chankan banner floated into the mid-air, casting a barrier entrance. The 12 members of the demon race entered first, followed by the human race. Seeing that everyone had gone in, Li Ninek motioned for Xiao Beidao and the others to stop. Although the 6 people stopped pouring in spiritual power and demonic energy, the Chankan banner was still suspended in mid-air, but cast a curtain of light. It turned out to be the picture inside the Chankan banner. At this time, the elite disciples of the demon race and the human race were standing at the head of a bridge. It is said to be a bridge, but it is actually just a chain. Under the bridge is the tumbling river, in which there are countless aquatic monsters roaring and roaring with the bloody mouths wide open. It can be predicted that once it accidentally falls, there will be no bones left. Xingwu rolled his eyes and said, this test is nothing more than courage. As long as you are careful, it's nothing at all. Bailey Muchin's third disciple, Mo Shuyuan, said, it's definitely not that simple. Maybe after stepping on the chains, you will fall into an illusion and test your state of mind. He actually wanted to go in, but he was seriously injured in the polar ice field before, so he had to give up. Most people agree with Mo Shuyuan's statement that the level of Chankan banner cannot be as simple as Xingwu said, and there will probably be illusions. None of the elite disciples in the Chankan banner moved. They were all watching. Finally, Xi said, I'll come first. He was born with magic pupils. Even if there is an illusion, it is easy to detect. Sure enough, as soon as he stepped on the chain, an illusion appeared in front of him. I don't know what kind of illusion he encountered. A smile appeared on his gloomy face. It took a while to see through the illusion, and then walk to the other side. It took a quarter of an hour in total. The second one is Shen Jilin. She spent about the same amount of time as Xi, which shows that she is still very determined. Outside the Chankan banner, Bailey Muchin had a proud expression on his face. Shen Jilin earned him a lot of face today, and finally made him feel proud. Even Xiao Beidao and others, although they doubted Shen Jilin's character, had to admit that she was indeed a genius in cultivation. Although the next few people successfully reached the other side of the bridge, they all took far longer than Xi and Shen Jilin, and they all took about half an hour. Lu Shuhan even broke out in cold sweat and almost fell off the bridge, which made everyone tremble with fear. Seeing that it was Jiangji and Zhong Wen's turn soon, Xiao Beidao's heart rose in his throat. He wasn't worried about Zhong Wen, because he was a heartless guy, but he was worried about Jiangji. This child is usually the most worry-free, but also has the most serious worries. I won't say anything, maybe I will be trapped by the illusion this time. Finally, it was Jiangji's turn. He seemed to be muttering something, but because the opening and closing of his lips was very small, everyone couldn't guess what he was muttering. Xingwu, who is so clever, yelled. I know, he's been chanting the words, little junior sister, all the time. Brother Jiangji must be begging his junior sister to bless him to pass the test safely. Everyone, isn't it Jiangji who thinks that the junior sister is more terrifying than the heart demon? Many people looked at Xiao Beidao. What did your precious apprentice Feng Shi do to Jiangji? Xiao Beidao. Apart from practicing, he spends most of his energy dealing with sect affairs, so he entrusted Feng Shi and Zhongwen to Jiangji's care. He really didn't know how the three brothers and sisters got along with each other on weekdays. Xiaoxi is so well behaved, how could Jiangji be afraid of her? It is estimated that although Jiangji is in the trial, but he still cares about the safety of the little junior sister in his heart, that's why he said so. Alas, this child is so sensible. I hope he will not be distracted by this matter and delay crossing the bridge. As a result, half a quarter of an hour later, Jiangji had already stood on the other side of the bridge. Xiao Beidao. Everyone. Jiangji is actually faster than Xi and Shen Zhilan. Is he so determined? Or is it that Feng Shi is so scary? When it was Zhongwen's turn, he chanted much more than Jiangji, and it really was, little junior sister. As soon as he got on the bridge, he seemed to be chased by a wolf behind him, and he would tease any girl. Even before everyone could react, he had already reached the other side of the bridge. The square was dead silent. Xiao Beidao coughed twice. These two children have been devoted to Taoism since they were young, and they didn't have the slightest distraction. It's normal for them to pass by so quickly. They talked about Xiaoxi because they were worried about her safety, which had nothing to do with crossing the bridge. Everyone, do you know that there is a word called, the more you describe, the darker you are? Regardless of what everyone thought, Xingwu put another thick filter on Feng Shi in his heart. Little junior sister is indeed omnipotent. Even if she is not there are still her legends here. At this time, the people who were interviewing in the Chang'an banner had a small porcelain bottle in their hands out of thin air. Chang'an banner is quite sensible, so he took a close-up of the small porcelain vase. Everyone clearly saw that it said, extreme hemostatic pill. Although the hemostatic pill is a very common pill, the effect of the best hemostatic pill will be several times better, and it is definitely a good thing for these disciples who are undergoing trials. So the faces of most people showed surprise. There are only two exceptions. Jiangji was originally a person who didn't show emotions, so his expression didn't change, and everyone could understand it. The key is Zhongwen. Not only is there no surprise on this guy's face, but he also has a look of disgust. Everyone. As we all know, your Xuanshan sect is a poor sect, yet you still despise the ultimate hemostatic pill. Look at you crazy, it's crazy. Xiao Beidao thought the same way, and secretly scolded the 5 apprentices. 4. Chevron _ left previous home index next chevron _ right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 110. I really miss the days when I was a piao. At this time, the scene inside the Chang'an banner changed, and 24 people were locked in 24 cages. There is also a monster or monster in each cage, which looks very strange, and no one has ever seen it before, and there is no related record in the ancient books. Leoninek said, it is estimated that these are formation beasts, made up of some monsters and monsters, in order to test the observation and resilience of the disciples. Bailey Muchen and the others also thought so, and their eyes all fell on the disciples they were paying attention to. Although they were facing monsters or monsters that they had never seen before, the performance of these elite disciples was still remarkable. They all behaved relatively calmly, and then focused on defense and tried. It is estimated that they want to test out their weaknesses before counterattacking. However, the two sides are evenly matched, and there will be no winner for a while. Xingwu yawned, feeling a little bored. Ugh. I miss the number 66 hours of my junior sister. At this time, Feng Shi, who was being nagged by him, had just finished his cultivation. This guy originally only wanted to practice for one night, but after entering the state of ecstasy, he has practiced until now. She obviously felt that her cultivation was higher than before. But because the 5 spiritual roots haven't gathered yet, she can't measure her current cultivation level. In addition, the 4 spiritual roots in the Danshan are much stronger than before, especially the golden spiritual roots, which have almost caught up with the other 3 spiritual roots. Sensing Feng Shi's gaze, the 4 spiritual roots held hands and circled happily. In the end, they went to Feng Shi together, comparing their hearts. Feng Shi. A bunch of dog stuff. As soon as Feng Shi withdrew his consciousness from his Danshan, he saw the little chubby bird and the little black ball that had gained weight several times. It used to be M-size, but now it is XXXL size. Only fire-swallowing Shu looked normal, and then he burped. Master, Lingxi is not delicious at all, it is far worse than magma. Feng Shi. The next moment, she was horrified to find that there was a big gap in the pile of spiritual stones. She almost fainted. Are you eating? Fire-swallowing Shu nodded. Well, I'm too hungry. Master, you have been practicing, and I don't want to disturb you, so I just deal with it and eat a little. Am I very sensible? Feng Shi, I understand your grandma's legs. She wanted to strangle her original self to death. What's wrong with accepting such a troublemaker? Originally, she planned to hide the absorbed waste stone in the stone pile, so that it could not be seen from the outside, and it was likely to hide it. It's good now. The great cleverness of the fire-swallowing Shu directly made a big gap. Anyone with long eyes can see that there are fewer stones. Little Heichu gave Feng Shi a trick, asking her to mix stones into the pile of stones. Feng Shi refused. Because she had stuffed stones into the storage ring of the Lushu letter before, it was obvious that she did this trick. She pondered for a while, with a smile on her face. Seeing her insidious appearance, little Black Ball knew that she was about to risk bad water. The demon mission should be here by now, right? How about letting them take the blame? When we leave in a while, bastard, you can get some faint magic energy on the pile of stones. It must be very faint, and you need to search carefully to find that kind. Anyway, the demon race must have done nothing wrong this time, and the crime is not bad. Fire swallowing Shu felt that he had caused a catastrophe, so he wanted to make up for it, and his stupid face was full of admiration. Master, you are so smart. Only you can come up with such an inhuman method. Feng Shi, don't eat spread stones next time, I'll buy you some pig brains, make up for it. At this time, the little black ball said, Master, have you overlooked a very important question? Why did you leave the treasure house without a sound? If you swagger and let someone let you out, you don't have to take the blame, you just buckle yourself up. Feng Shi. Yup. I am not a piao now, how can I get out? I really miss the days when I was a piao. You can just listen to the walls. Can be unimpeded anywhere. Go wherever you want. This guy suddenly had an idea, if you want to be a piao, you can be a piao, if you want to be a person, you can be a human. I don't know what method the old skeleton used to make her human again. If you know, get some fluttering moths and put them in the storage ring, and when you want to change into a piao, you can smash one, so happy. Miscalculated. This time I went to the deep valley and didn't bring anything out. Return empty-handed. Ha, it doesn't seem to bring anything, it seems to bring back a monster horn. Feng Shi immediately took out the monster horn and looked at it carefully. Seeing the fire-swallowing demon at the side, he placed it on top of its head. Not to mention, it seems to be quite matching. With the blessing of the horns, the fire-swallowing beast is much more majestic than before. Then, swallowing Woshu passed out with a choked sound. Feng Shi was startled, but after checking and checking, she found that this guy was asleep. Going to sleep when you are full is really heartless. Then she belatedly realized that the fire-swallowing beast was lying on the ground, and the horns she had put on its head hadn't fallen off. She pulled it with her hand, but it didn't move. On the contrary, it heard the Huonshu and groaned twice. Feng Shi found out in disbelief that the horn had actually grown to the top of the fire-swallowing Shu's head. Know it, you might think it's original. Just outrageous. Off the spectrum. Forget it, wait for the fire-swallowing animal to wake up and ask it what it wants, keep it if you want to keep it, and cut it off with a knife if you don't want to keep it. Feng Shi put the fire-swallowing beast into the spread animal bag, and started wandering around in the treasure house to see if there was a way to escape. As a result, after turning around, my eyes were almost blinded, and I couldn't think of a way. The little chubby bird held its chin with its small wings and said, Master, if only we had Shen Jibin's teleportation treasure. Feng Shi's heart skipped a beat. What the little fat bird said reminded her of something. When she was in the underground palace in the secret place of Wibei Mountain, Feng Shashan took out a 1,000-mile teleportation talisman as an exam question, and she memorized the lines on it after just a few glances. Although she hasn't studied talismans systematically, Xuanshnong's Chuanva Hall has also briefly introduced talismans, and she still knows the basic operating procedures. Or she tried to draw one. Maybe it will be done. Little black ball. Its unscrupulous master doesn't know where his confidence comes from. You're a rookie who has never drawn a talisman, let alone a high-level talisman like a 1,000-mile teleportation talisman. You can't even draw the most common flame talisman. Besides, where do you go to get talisman paper and talisman ink? Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 111. This is the correct way to pass the level. Feng Shi was also in a dilemma. What should I do if I only have a pen but no talisman paper or ink? She looked around in the treasure house, but couldn't find the talisman paper or ink. I had no choice but to rummage through my storage ring and found a few talismans. There are flame talismans, ice talismans, shield talismans and so on. These were all given by Xingwu when Feng Shi and Zhang Wen were crying poor in the polar ice field. Feng Shi saw that the backs of these talismans were blank, so she decided to use them a second time. Frugality is a virtue after all. Little black ball. Can the talisman paper be used again? Never heard of that. When you input spiritual power to stimulate, does the talisman paper follow the lines on the front or the lines on the back? Or go at the same time? Feng Shi didn't care what it thought, she began to bleed the fire-swallowing beast. The so-called talisman ink is actually made of monster blood plus some materials, so Feng Shi thinks it should be fine to use the blood of the fire-swallowing beast directly. Fire-swallowing Shu slept enough to die, even if it was bloodletting, it just hummed twice and didn't wake up. When she was ready, Feng Shi took the Shanhei Chankan pen and drew it a few times. After she was proficient, she dipped in the blood of the fire-swallowing demon and began to draw symbols on the back of the talisman seal. The symbols must be written in one stroke, and cannot be broken in the middle, so the little black ball and the little fat bird dare not show their atmosphere. They are afraid of being angered. Because they are sure that Feng Shi will not succeed, and the unscrupulous master will probably blame them if he doesn't find his own reasons. As expected, just as Feng Shi was halfway through the painting, the talisman fell into place. Feng Shi was not discouraged and continued to draw. I failed 10 times in a row. The little black ball couldn't hold back and said, Master, you are not good at paper and ink, so don't waste your efforts. Feng Shi didn't think so. The fact that the talisman can burn means that the secondary use can still be used as a carrier of spiritual power, and the problem still lies with herself. Either the output of spiritual power is unstable, or the amount of output is inappropriate. So, despite the persuasion of the little black ball, she continued to paint. Seeing that there were only the last 3 talismans left in the storage ring, Feng Shi was somewhat discouraged. It's nothing else, she feels a bit at a loss. She ruined more than a dozen talisman seals, it's all money. Taking out another shield amulet, she calmly began to draw. All in one go. After stopping the pen, there is brilliance shining on the lines. Become. The little black ball turned into a cloud of mist because it was too surprised. The little chubby bird covered its sharp beak with a pair of small wings, and the little mung bean stared round. This is actually okay. Little Heichu felt that Feng Shi's success was largely due to the Shanhei Chankan brush. The advantages of the pen make up for the shortcomings of talisman paper and talisman ink. Of course, Fangxi herself is also very changeable, she just needs to be in a state of mind. But, can the thing she drew work? Fangxi had no idea, so she put the little fat bird into the spirit animal bag, let the little black ball get into the blood demon token, and then used spiritual power to activate the talisman. She also purposely turned the 1000-mile teleportation talisman side up. After the result was activated, a shield appeared in front of him. She suddenly felt cold and cold. After tossing for a long time, it was a waste of effort. Little black ball thought, how about it, am I right? This simply won't work. If you don't listen to the bastard, you will suffer in front of your eyes. It was trying to comfort Fangxi for a few words, and then lost the connection with Fangxi's spiritual consciousness. When the connection with the spiritual consciousness was restored, its amiable and respectable master was lying on a floating black cloth like a little bastard. Even though it had just been teleported, Fangxi still remained awake, her eyes scanned the situation in front of her, and her little head started various analysis. There is a light curtain under the black cloth she is lying on, and there seem to be pictures and images on it, so this black cloth should be a spiritual weapon or a magic weapon. There are a few demons below, which means that the demon mission has arrived. She thinks those demons are extremely pleasing to the eye. Well, the person who takes the initiative to send the scapegoat to the door is of course pleasing to the eye. While thinking, she waved to everyone. It's a coincidence, everyone is here. I haven't seen you for a few days, I miss you so much. Xingwu was the first to react, jumped up and ran over. Little junior sister, don't jump down, don't get hurt, I will pick you up with Eujian. Everyone, the Chankan banner is only 1 foot high from the ground. Will it hurt at this distance? Still need Eujian. Regardless of whether it is useful or not, Xingwu really flew to Fangxi's side with his sword. Fangxi used this kung fu to think of an excuse, so she said that she was drawn into the space crack, and then sucked out by the black cloth. Impeccable. As for the truth of the matter, it will not be too late to wait until the matter of the demon mission is resolved. As a result, just as she was about to hit Xingwu's flying sword, a huge suction came from inside the Chankan banner, sucking her in. Should I say it or not, Xingwu's reaction was really quick, he jumped forward and grabbed Fang Zai's ankle. Then, he was also sucked in by the Chankan banner. In front of them was the chain bridge that Shen Jilin and the others had encountered before. Xingwu said to Fangxi, Junior sister, I knew that even if I don't have a quota, you must have a way to let me in. Fangxi. Thank you for blindly trusting me. But, I don't even want to come in, okay. Fangxi glanced at him, Xingwu understood in seconds, and explained the current situation in extremely refined language. Fangxi knew it well. Xingwu said, Junior sister, senior brother Jiangji and Zhenwen kept talking about you when they crossed this bridge, and then passed smoothly. I will also miss you in a while, please bless me. Fangxi. You such a fool. Those two who talked about me were afraid of being tortured by me. You haven't been tortured by me, it's useless to talk about me. She covered her mouth with her hands and said something to Xingwu in a low voice. Xingwu didn't say anything, S.A. Yazi rushed across the chain bridge without any pause, even faster than Zhan Wen's speed. At this time, 2 areas were divided on the Chankan banner, one of which played their pictures and sounds. But Fangxi covered her mouth with her hands, and her voice was extremely low, so there was no way for everyone to know what she said. Seeing that Zhan Wen had passed by, Fangxi walked up the chain bridge slowly, and squatted on it to chat with the monsters in the water. You are not real monsters, are you? Array beasts, right? Not to mention it looks like that. Then do you have brains? Can you think independently? If you have brains, have you ever thought about what it's like to taste each other's meat? What's not to eat? Why would you rather think about the meat that you will never eat, but give up the meat in your mouth? Isn't this a silly hat? Ellipsis. The aquatic monsters under the bridge stood still for a few breaths as if they had been pasted with a talisman, and then began to kill each other. Fangxi encouraged them while watching, and when the aquatic monsters below were almost dead or injured, she began to aim at the bridge and cast water arrows. 1 hit and 1 hit. After a while, she killed the remaining aquatic monsters covered in bruises. Then, the guy walked slowly across the chain bridge with his little hands behind his back, and said to the stunned Xingwu. See, this is the correct way to pass the level. Xingwu, I'm uneducated, don't lie to me. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog, chapter 112 My Weak and Poor Little Apprentice. Everyone outside the Chankan banner is frying pan. To be exact, when Fangxi and Xingwu were sucked in, they were blown up. It's just that they were all stunned when they saw Fang Zisao's operation, and they were as quiet as chickens for a while. But this time, the second bombed. Ha ha ha, Fangxi is worthy of being a model of the human race, this show operation is too awesome. Others cleared the level, but she ruined it. If the Chankan banner has a heart, it will probably be pissed off. Isn't it leading wolves into the house? Ellipsis. Hu Wangkui, head of the beast sect, patted Xiao Beidao on the shoulder and said, Old Xiao, what's the matter? I'll just say that Shashi is smart and smart, she will be fine, even if she is thrown into the devil world, she will still be alive and kicking. After finishing speaking, I belatedly remembered that there were people from the demon race present, coughed twice, and said dryly. The human race and the demon race have been friendly for generations, not just the creek, anyone who goes there can be alive and kicking. This made him feel guilty. The complexions of the Mizzou members were a little unsightly. They came here with the Chankan banner, but they didn't come to see the elite disciples of the human race shine. Li Nangxi said with a cold face, Everyone, we have something to say before that the number of your human races entering the Chankan banner cannot exceed that of our demons. How do we count now? Xiao Beidao snorted coldly. You still have the nerve to settle accounts with us. We should settle accounts with you. My precious little apprentice's Danshan has not recovered from his injury, and he doesn't want to enter any Chankan banner at all. You must have done something to suck her in. Pity my little apprentice, she is weak and pitiful, with a simple mind. If she has something, I will never end with you. Li Nan smiled angrily. Weak and pitiful. Simple-minded. You were talking about the two people in the Chankan banner, right? Xiao Beidao, you are messing around. Is this the solution attitude of your race? Bailey Muchen hurriedly smoothed things over. Guardian Li, Sect leader Xiao is also concerned, but he is in chaos. After all, that child Fengxi has been missing for several days, and he was sucked in by the Chankan banner just after he showed up. It is only natural for him to be anxious. As for the number of people you mentioned, this is indeed an accident. Who would have thought that the two of them would be sucked in? Or, let's reopen the entrance and you two go in again. Li Nangxi snorted coldly. The entrance can only be opened once. Forget it, since it was an accident, so be it. This is the territory of the human race, so he shouldn't be too aggressive, and this incident was indeed an accident. Besides, entering the Chankan banner may not be a good thing. He wants to see how that Fengxi can act like a monster. At this time, many people exclaimed, and he moved his gaze to the light curtain. Above the light curtain, Fengxi was buried alive by a pile of small porcelain bottles. Xingwu dragged and tugged, and finally pulled Fengxi out. Everyone. Others rewarded a small porcelain bottle for clearing the level. Fengxi got a bunch. Fengxi picked up a porcelain bottle casually, and curled her lips when she saw the superior hemostatic pill written on it, and then said to Xingwu. You take it first, and the rest is mine. Xingwu scratched his head, and only took 10 small porcelain bottles. Junior sister, these are enough for me. Fengxi was very satisfied. Not greedy, very good. She put away the remaining small porcelain bottle. Although it is not rare, these can be worth a lot of spirit stones if they're sold. But this time, many people turned their attention to another area. Because someone has already killed the monster in the cage and passed the level. No one expected that the first person to pass the test would be Zhang Wen. It even looked a little relaxed. Zhang Wen stands with his hands behind his back. This thing is far worse than Junior sister. Can it destroy my Dao heart or can it use 10 big moves at once? I didn't cut it at the beginning, it's already a respect for it. The second one to come out was Shen Jilin. Seeing that Zhang Wen had come out, her eyes flickered. Next is Xi, Ying Filong. The monsters in each human cage are matched according to the cultivation level of the tester, and the monsters faced by high-level monks are even more difficult. So the ones who came out first were all the monks in the Foundation establishment period. Jiang Ji was the first to come out of the Golden Core stage monks. There was a thin layer of sweat on his forehead. He glanced at Zhang Wen who was full of embarrassment, and fell into deep thought. It seems that in the future, he can't always push the fifth junior brother to the back, and he should have more discussions with the younger junior sister. Xiao Beidao outside the banner of Chankan is so beautiful in his heart. In an instant, I felt that I was 2 feet 8. As expected of Xiao Beidao's apprentices, each one competes with each other. After reading this side, he looked at the little apprentice again. I don't know why, Fengxi and Xingwu scenes are still in the previous scene, and they haven't switched to the second level. Everyone speculated that they might have to wait for the previous batch of people to complete the assessment before they could proceed. Waiting and waiting, finally the previous group of people completed the assessment, and all members passed the customs. It's just that some people are unscathed, and some people are wounded. Such as road repair letter. A piece of flesh was bitten off of his right leg by the monster, and he walked with a limp. Now the more Bailey Muchen looks at this second apprentice, the more he dislikes him. If he wants to be brainless, if he wants to cultivate without cultivation, he probably accepted him because he was blind. But this time, the reward for passing the level also appeared. Different from the first level, everyone's prizes are different this time. The higher the ranking, the higher the prize value. Zhongwen got a heavenly spiritual plant, and he was so happy from ear to ear. The last Lu Shuhan who came out only got a bottle of top-grade qi-gathering pill. His face was full of resentment, especially seeing that Shen Jilin had been talking to Qin Shifeng. His eyes looked like they had been poisoned. Chankan banner is still very humane. It didn't let them enter the third checkpoint immediately, but gave them time to rest. The Melanitas outside Chankan felt that this arrangement was considerate. Because they all stared round their eyes, ready to see how Fengxi passed the second level. She wouldn't fool the formation beast in the cage to commit suicide, would she? Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 113 Never trouble others what you can do. But this time, Fengxi and Xingwu were locked in the cage. Xingwu's side has already started to test, and Fengxi's side is studying the cage there. Yo, isn't this cage real? It seems to be formed by formations. I originally thought that this thing could sell for $2, but it seems that I was thinking too much. The formation beast ignored by her. Awo screaming and rushing over. Fengxi avoided it briskly, and frowned. You were so anxious to die. Wouldn't it be better to live a little longer? Have you never thought about doing something meaningful in your short life? Array beast. What are you talking about? I don't understand. I just want to eat you. Fengxi dodged again, and said with a smile, let's cooperate. Let's open the cage and see what good things are outside. Array beast. Everyone who eats melons. Fengxi continued to babble. You're going to live once, don't you want to see the scenery outside the cage? Or are you afraid? Forget it, seeing how cowardly you are, you don't have the guts to pretend I didn't say anything. Ellipsis. The formation beast blows air with its nose, and kicks its hind paws on the ground. Who do you look down on? The big head slammed into the cage. Sparks fly. Fengxi pursed her lips and began to attack the cage's railing with her spiritual power. The hard work paid off, the two guys tossed about for a long time, and the railings of the cage didn't move at all. Feng Shi. A ray beast. Feng Shi felt that she couldn't do it by force, this thing must have a formation. So he commanded the formation beast to dig the soil on the ground. Digging out a formation plate. Feng Shi. As soon as this guy took out the strut stone in the groove of the formation plate, the cage disappeared. Immediately afterwards, a new cage came out to cover Feng Shi and the formation beast, and there was also a new formation beast. Formation beast no. Looked at formation beast no. In confusion. No, why is it still alive? Isn't this my task object? Are you here to pry the corner? Feng Shi patiently and meticulously communicated with formation beast no. Formation beast no was obviously more personal than no, so she didn't listen to her babbling at all, and rushed forward screaming. Feng Shi pouted at a ray beast no. The time has come to prove your strength. Give it to me. Formation beast no. That's all right, anyway. Let's play blindly. Thus, the two formation beasts pinched together. Feng Shi took out a small horse, sat on it and watched the battle while eating melon seeds. If you are happy, you will applaud them. The fire was almost ready, so she made a move, and beat the formation beast no. To the ground. To accept or not to accept. A ray beast no. Was not stubborn this time, and nodded obediently. So, Feng Shi ordered them to dig out the formation plate here and put it in their pockets. Then came the third cage. In the beginning, it would take some time for Feng Shi to clean up the new formation beasts, but as more and more formation beasts were on her side, the new formation beasts could be put down in the blink of an eye. Therefore, she was only responsible for carrying the formation in her pocket afterwards. Later, I couldn't count how many formation discs I got, and felt that it was meaningless, so I said to those formation beasts. I'm tired of playing, kill yourself. Formation beasts. The antibone of a ray beast no. Inflated instantly. There are dozens of formation beasts here, so killing this girl must be no problem at all. So, he yelled a few times, calling on all the formation beasts to come together. Feng Shi curled her lips. This is a bit interesting. She called out the wooden sword and went straight to the formation beast that appeared last. Killed with a sword. The cage and other formation beasts disappeared in an instant. Do you really think she is just watching the fun? In the process of watching, she has already found the weakness of these formation beasts. As long as she wants to, she can completely deal with these formation beasts. It's just that she didn't want to waste that time, so she went directly to the newly appeared formation beast and quickly passed the second checkpoint. The expressions of the melon-eating crowd outside the Chankan banner were exactly the same, stretching their necks, staring at their eyes, and opening their mouths so wide the duck egg could be stuffed into them. Is this also okay? Others went in and waited for the reward from Qian Kun banner, while Feng Shi found a reward for herself. After a long while, Xiao Beidao said, Shaoxi has been sensible since he was a child, and he never bothers others when he can do things by himself. Everyone. Li Ninek frowned. The human race seemed to be different from before. Seeing the high morale of the human race, Si Yuchuan, the elder of the Dunmo clan, snorted coldly. Feng Shi doesn't have any real skills, but just relying on lip service to fool the formation beast. If there is no formation beast in the next level, I think she will be eliminated first. Many human races also think so. Although Feng Shi's performance in these two levels is amazing, it's not because of her high cultivation level, it's just that she has a good brain and tongue. But some people don't think so. Hu Wankui, the head of Yushimen, is very optimistic about Feng Shi. Because everyone only saw Feng Shi playing lip service but ignored her last sword. There are so many formation beasts in the cage, her flying sword not only avoids other formation beasts slightly, but also kills them directly with one sword. What does this mean? It shows that she has a very precise control over the flying sword, and she has very keen observation and judgment, otherwise it would be impossible to find the weakness of the formation beast without doing it. Not only him, but Lu Zhengquan, the head of Wanjianzong, also thinks so. I can't help but sigh in my heart. This child Feng Shi needs to have brains, to have understanding and understanding. Once his Danshan is healed, he will surely amaze everyone. Xiao Beidao has taken in a good apprentice. If he had known this, he should have accepted Feng Shi first at Bailey Muchan's apprentice acceptance meeting. Unfortunately, there is no medicine for regret in this world. I can only regret it. However, now he is even more curious about what reward Chankan banner will give Feng Shi, and will it give her many rewards like the last level. Feng Shi was also looking forward to it, and even got herself a spiritual shield in advance, for fear of being smashed and hurt. In the end, after waiting and waiting, Xingwu got a ground level spiritual plant, but she got nothing. If it's someone else, it's fine. After all, in their territory, you have to hold the dragon. But Feng Shi never suffers from such uselessness. Sneered. Don't play if you can't afford it. The rules can be changed at will. What are you calling Chankan banner? Just call it Stingy banner. As soon as she finished speaking, a bunch of prizes fell down in a whirl. There are jade boxes, porcelain vases, brocade boxes, and bags. Feng Shi casually opened one and took a look, and saw that there was a heavenly ranked spiritual plant inside, knowing that the Chankan banner hadn't fooled her, so she pointed at Xingwu. Choose two at will. Xingwu felt that he was the happiest person in the world. He closed his eyes and touched the two, lest a little junior sister think that he specially picked the valuable ones. Seeing this, Feng Shi casually took two pieces and stuffed them to him. Xingwu was moved to tears. Little sister, you are so kind to me. I won't say anything extra. As long as it's your business, I will do my best even if it's up the mountain of swords and down into the sea of fire, without any ambiguity. Feng Shi said with a smile, we are brothers and sisters, there is no need to talk about this. Hu Wankui and Xiao Beidao outside the Chankan banner. You are real brothers and sisters, why don't we masters know this? Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 114. Fangxi clapped her hands and called it a day. I don't know if Chankenbanner is taking revenge on Fangxi, and he didn't give her a rest time, and directly let her and Xingwu enter the third checkpoint. Instead, Shen Jilin and the others were still resting. Fangxi and Xingwu were in a very spacious room, with countless small beetles flying above their heads emitting colorful fluorescent light. Colorful and beautiful. There was an extra jar in their hands. Fangxi's was red, and Xingwu's was blue. At the same time as the jar, there is also a piece of paper with customs clearance conditions written on it. Within 3 hours, catch 30 beetles of the same color as the jar with your hands to pass the level. If you catch a beetle of the wrong color, just eliminate it. Xingwu immediately said carelessly, it doesn't seem to be difficult. After speaking, he jumped up and reached out to catch a small blue beetle. As a result, he also jumped up, and the little blue beetle also turned pink, and Xingwu quickly withdrew his hand. Because, if you make a mistake, you will be eliminated. Not reconciled, he tried again, still the same. I failed to catch the beetle of the corresponding color 10 times in a row. The melon-eating crowd outside Chanken's flag talked a lot. It seems that this level tests the coordination and agility of the body, eyes and footwork. It must be fast and accurate, otherwise it will not be caught at all. Yeah, I observed it. Those little beetles change their colors without any rules at all, so it's definitely not possible to sit on the sidelines. Also, the density of beetles is too high. If you are not careful, you may catch the wrong one. If you do that, you will be eliminated. Ellipsis. Li Nangxi and the others showed smiles on their faces. Fangxi can be opportunistic in this level, let's see what she will do. While thinking about it, he looked towards Fangxi in another room, and saw the little girl was making the meaty buns. It doesn't mean to catch small beetles at all. I don't know whether to praise her for being calm or to say that she is heartless. She didn't stand up until Xingwu had caught 5 small beetles. With the seal of both hands, several spiritual flames spewed out, burning a large number of small beetles to death. She squinted her eyes and saw that another batch had been burned to death. But this time, there were only 40 or 50 small beetles left in the room. Fangxi felt much refreshed. Then he tied up all the little beetles with spiritual vines and arranged them in 2 rows in front of her. After a while, one of them turned red, and Fangxi pinched it with her hands and stuffed it into the jar. After a while, another one turned red. After half a quarter of an hour, Fangxi clapped her hands and called it a day. Li Nangxi and others. You said she broke the rules, right? They did catch them with their hands, and they didn't touch any small beetles of other colors. But you said she didn't break the rules. Why do you look so hated? Regardless of what they thought, Fangxi passed the test and got a mysterious defensive straight weapon. Fangxi was very satisfied with this, and took out a small wooden bed from the storage ring, put a small pillow on it, and covered it with a small quilt, and began to take a nap. The hard-working Xingwu is still jumping up and down to catch bugs. But this time, Shen Jilin and the others also entered the 3rd level. Basically, they're similar to Xingwu, catching bugs conscientiously. It's just that some people's body skills are faster, and they can catch faster than Xingwu. For example, Shen Jilin, with fluttering clothes, light movements, and quite good body skills. The people who eat melons have complicated faces. If they hadn't seen Fangxi's coquettish operation, they would have thought Shen Jilin's movements were beautiful, but seeing her jumping up and down now, they felt like a monkey. Not only is she like a monkey, but everyone else is like a monkey. Especially after Shen Jilin finished first, she still had a somewhat smug look on her face. No matter how you look at it, you look like a fool. Everyone even suspected that the Chanken banner separated the 2 groups of people just to let Fangxi highlight the stupidity of the other group of people. Finally, the 3-hour deadline has come. 1 person each from the demon race and the human race was eliminated. The one who was eliminated from the demon race was a disciple of the Dun demon race, and Liu Shuhan was eliminated from the human race. He injured his leg in the last level, although he took the pill, it was also affected. His face was full of gloom. Shen Jilin came over to comfort her a few words, and then forced a smile. Junior sister Jilin, I can't go on with you, you should be more careful, I believe the heavenly Dao Qi machine will definitely be yours. Shen Jilin smiled, second senior brother, with your good words, I will definitely do my best. Take care of your wounds, let's go out and see you later. When she turned around, a sneer flashed across Shen Jilin's eyes. Idiot. If you are eliminated, I can go further. Chanken banner didn't give everyone a break this time, and directly entered the 4th checkpoint. A humanoid puppet made of special materials appeared in front of everyone. If you want to pass the level, you must get a jade tablet inlaid on the shoulder of the puppet. As soon as the puppet came up, it was a fierce attack. The first thought that came to the minds of the melon eaters was that Fangxi couldn't do it this time. After all, the puppet has no consciousness, so she can't fool her even if she wants to. Sure enough, Fangxi didn't bang this time, and honestly took out the wooden sword to fight the puppet. Her swordsmanship is a bit sluggish, and sometimes she even seems to have forgotten the moves, and she has to think about it with a sad face. Many people showed disappointment. Fangxi's little head is really good, but his swordsmanship is too bad. Ying Chanli, the elder of the Shadow Demon clan, said with a smirk. Master Xiao, you should teach Fangxi's swordsmanship well when you have time. Her swordsmanship is messy, it's too bad. Although Xiao Beidao also felt that the little apprentice's swordsmanship was not good, but he was protecting the calf. A faint smile, you may not know it, Xiao she likes to tinker with new gadgets, he is probably studying new sword techniques. Ying Chanli. Are you guilty of saying this? She studied new sword techniques for a period of qi refining. What nonsense. He didn't bother to say any more. Anyway, Fangxi would be eliminated soon with this posture, and it would not be too late to mock Xiao Beidao a few more times. Soon, half an hour passed. In another area, people have passed the checkpoint one after another. This time, number 1 is Si Che, and number 2 is Shen Jilin. The two looked at each other, and Chen Jilin looked away indifferently. The Melanitas didn't notice this scene, but found that the disciples of the Foundation Establishment stage were the first to complete each time, and the disciples of the Golden Core stage would be behind instead. This shows that the Chang'an banner has weakened the level gap, and the test is understanding and aptitude. Xiao Beidao agreed with this point of view very much, stroked his beard and said, "So Xiaoxi is the best among these disciples. Everyone. As long as you are happy. Even if you don't look at it, Fangxi has been forced into a spinning top by a puppet. The whole house is running wild. It's hard for her to run so fast." All of a sudden, Fangxi seemed to be a different person, and the speed of her sword was more than twice as fast, and every move was stabbed at a position that everyone didn't expect. But after 5 encounters, she cornered the puppet, trapped it with spiritual vines, then took out the binding rope and tied it. She didn't go to get the jade token, but opened the puppet's front heart, pulled out the spirit stone from the control pan, and stuffed it into her storage ring. This guy shamelessly tried to put the puppet in the storage ring. It didn't work out. But this time, a new puppet appeared. Fangxi subdued the puppet in less than 10 moves. Still tie up the spirit stones. Ellipsis. Half an hour passed, and there was a row of puppets in Fangxi's room. She found that the patterns of the jade plaques on the shoulders of each puppet were different. Since there is no spirit stone in the spirit control disc, does it mean that taking down the jade tablet is not considered a pass? Sure enough, she quickly got a stack of jade cards. I am so happy. Even if the Chang'an banner is not used, these jade tokens can still be sold for a good price. Today is another cub who is working hard to make money for master. Sparkling. Invincible and cute. Xuanshnong's brightest sun. Open black lens bracket good night, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 115. How did you come up with these bad ideas? The Melanitas outside the Chang'an banner were once again shocked by Fangxi's showmanship. Xiao Beidao counted with his fingers. The little apprentice can make a lot of money this time. Not to mention anything else, the spirit stones in the formation disc and spirit control disc are not low-grade spirit stones, they are all high-grade spirit stones, and one piece is worth 10,000 low-grade spirit stones. Plus rewards. The old man's eyelashes are blooming happily. My dear apprentice is indeed better than blue, and can make more money than me as a master. What other people are concerned about is that the sword technique used by Fangxi behind does not seem to be the Xuanshan sword technique. Seeing that the moves are ordinary and unremarkable, but the placement is weird and unpredictable, could it be a new sword technique that she figured out by herself? Then her understanding of kendo is too amazing. Ying Chanli, the elder of the Shadow Demon clan, thought of what he said before. His face was hot. But after thinking about it, it is impossible for a little waste in the chi refining period to have such an ability. It must have been figured out by Xiao Beidao, and now it is used to give money to the little apprentice. Right, that is it. Some people think so too. For example, Bailey Muchen. Sin said, Xiao Beidao really cares about this Fangxi, it is because her cultivation base has been unable to improve, so he wants to give her the title of swordsman genius. It's a pity that no matter how superb the swordsmanship is, it's useless if the cultivation base is not good. Or Jilin is even better. At this time, many people have already obtained the jade cards, waiting for the opening of the next level. Xingwu had already passed the assessment, and after waiting and waiting, he finally saw Fangxi come out. Fangxi was in a good mood at first glance, so she made a shield art for herself and waited to receive the prize. Xingwu watched helplessly as Fangxi was buried alive by a bunch of prizes again. He is now more and more proficient at digging graves, and he pulled Fangxi out in 2 or 3 strokes. As usual, Fangxi asked him to choose a few prizes he liked, and put the rest into the storage ring. She said to Xingwu with emotion on her face, Brother Xingwu, I was narrow-minded before, Chang'an is really a good person who values integrity and credibility. I can't wait to enter the 5th level. Xingwu. I see you can't wait to hug your prize. What the two of them didn't expect was that after the scene changed, they saw Junwen and others. Junwen was taken aback for a moment, then rushed over. Little junior sister, I knew you would be fine. How did you get in? Jiangji also hurried over. Fangxi sighed, I didn't want to come in at first, but Qian Kunfen insisted on inviting me in so shamelessly, I can't help it. You also just passed the 4th level. Jiangji nodded and said with concern. Junior sister, have you passed these few levels smoothly? Are there any obstacles in the process of passing the level? Fangxi sighed, there are a lot of obstacles, each time I waste a lot of time. Eldest brother, I can rest assured that I will meet with you now, and I will rely on you from now on. Jiangji is an honest child, believing it to be true, racking his brains to comfort Fangxi. Xingwu at the side. She wasted a long time, because she went to hug the prize. Just as he was thinking, Junwen asked him with an unkind expression. Why are you with my junior sister? Xingwu raised his eyebrows. Fate. I'll be where my junior sister is. You don't know yet, do you? Little junior sister gave me a lot of good things. Junwen saw that he was so snarky that he didn't get angry, so he swung his fist and hit him. Xingwu was not a good quarrel either, and the two soon started fighting. They didn't use spiritual power either, they just beat with fists and feet, and even bit with their mouths when they were in a hurry. Qin Shifeng and Jiangji hurried over. No matter how much they persuaded, Junwen and Xingwu continued to fight as if they hadn't heard. Fangxi said slowly. Eldest brother, senior brother Qin, why are you meddling in this business? Let them fight. Anyway, a human head can't beat a dog's head. In this way, I only know the goods that are fighting in the nest, so why not just throw them into the mines? Junwen and Xingwu immediately stopped fighting, and even hugged. Qin Shifeng. Jiangji. At this moment, the scene in front of everyone changed. The 5th level is opened. The avenue is ruthless. In front of everyone, there is a person who is the most important to them, and only by killing them can they pass the level. The same person appeared in front of Jiang Ji, Jun Wen and Feng Shi, Xiao Beidao, their master. Xiao Beidao outside the Shanken banner had a sore nose and red eye circles. Hu Wangkui next to him almost got his nose crooked. Because it was Feng Shi who appeared in front of Xing Wu. This unfilial person. When you come out, I will clean the portal. Among the remaining people are masters, parents, and loved ones. However, no figure appeared in front of Shen Jilin for a long time, and after a while, the figure of Bailey Muchen appeared. Bailey Muchen didn't pay much attention to it, thinking that it might be because Shanken banner was beaten a little by Feng Shi, so there was a delay. Xing Wu scratched his head. Junior sister, even if I know it's a dummy, I won't let it go. So are others. Even the elites of the demon race looked embarrassed. The Melanitas outside the Shanken banner lamented that the setting of this level is not good enough. Sooner or later, though, these kids get over it. Otherwise, you will fall into an illusion in the future, knowing that the other party is a fake, but you can't make a move just because of a surface, it will be bad. At this moment, Feng Shiwiki raised her little hand. My friends from the demon race, I have a small proposal, why don't we exchange assassination targets? We kill demons, you kill people. Everyone's eyes lit up. Yup. As long as it is exchanged, there is no psychological burden. Thus, the human race and the demon race exchanged positions. Bloodletting, without the slightest hesitation. Especially Ying Filong deliberately chose Feng Shi. If you kill him, you still don't get rid of your hatred, and you even cremated him with a fire. Feng Shi. Xiaoheng, just wait for me. Sooner or later, I will let you kneel down and call you ancestor. The reason why this guy changed Barber to ancestor is because there is no such thing as Barber here, and the other party doesn't understand it. It would make her very rude. The Melanitas outside Shanken banner were stunned again. Let's just say, how did Feng Shi come up with these bad ideas? But isn't that a foul? Of course Feng Shi knew that this was a foul, but the Lord does not blame everyone, and if she is capable, she will eliminate everyone. In any case, she didn't want Xiao Beidao to see the scene of her being killed by her apprentices. Even if you know it's fake. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 116 Vegetable Chicken Combination. Everyone in the Shanken banner didn't get any rewards for this level, but they still entered the 6th level collectively. This time it was a group trial, and it was randomly divided into groups of 3. At this time, there are exactly 24 people in the Shanken banner, 11 people from the demon race, and people from the human race. I don't know if it's a coincidence, but the other groups are all of the same race, either demons or humans, and each group has a golden core or magic core disciple. Only in Feng Shi's group, apart from her being a human, the other 2 are all demons. An old acquaintance, Ying Filong, is in the late stage of the 4th level of Ningyuan. Si Shan of the demon escaping clan, in the late stage of the 3rd level of condensation Yuan. Terran Feng Shi, the chi refining period. The cultivation base is more than one dish, which can be called the combination of vegetables and chickens. As soon as the grouping situation was announced, the 8 groups were thrown into the desert. The topic is very simple, within 7 days, completely control the water source in the desert. The light curtain of Shanken banner is thoughtfully divided into 8 areas, each group occupies 1 area. The other 7 groups have already started to study strategies, and the rookie group is still staring at it. Ying Filong said angrily, I've been unlucky for 8 lifetimes, to be with you 2 trash. Si Shan sneered, you can't even beat this Feng Shi, and you have the nerve to call others trash. I think you are the most trash. Feng Shi chuckled happily, okay, you 2 stop arguing, one of the 3 of us is a waste. However, isn't there such a saying, 3 little trash can beat living gods, we will definitely be the first to pass. Ying Filong and Si Shan. How come we haven't heard this? Is it a proverb of the human race? Feng Shi continued, don't care about our past festivals, now we are all grasshoppers on the same rope, so from now on we are brothers and sisters. Brother Ying, Brother Si, what do you think? Ying Filong and Si Shan. Let's just say, how can you call so kindly, naturally? You are not a bit embarrassed. Seeing that they were silent, Feng Shi continued to babble. It seems that you also think so, we really have a good understanding. Let's set off to find the water source now, and check the situation first before making further plans. Since Si Shan had nothing to do with Feng Shi, he took the lead in saying, Feng Shi, we don't have a map, where can we find the water source? He really couldn't pronounce the words, little martial sister, he could only call her by name. Feng Shi didn't care either, she thought for a while and said, see if anyone is panting, grab one and ask. Si Shan. What do you mean? Ying Filong rolled his eyes, thinking that Feng Shi was talking nonsense. Let alone whether there are living creatures here, even if there are, where can I find them in such a large desert? Just as she was thinking, Feng Shi took out 3 sticks of incense from the storage ring, distributed 1 to each of them, and lit them with spiritual flames. It is the beast-inducing incense from the beast sect. Although the scent of attracting beasts can only be effective if you get close to it, and it has little effect on some adult monsters, but it is still a good way for now. Feng Shi said to Fei Long and Si Shan. Brother Ying, Brother Si, many monsters in the desert will live under the sand, we'd better stick to the sand. So, each member of the vegetable chicken group held a stick of incense in their hands, sometimes lying down, sometimes squatting, and sometimes standing up. Those who don't know think that these 3 are there. They're sworn brothers. The melon-eating crowd outside the Shanken banner. Originally, I thought that these 3 would come together, especially Ying Filong and Feng Shi would definitely fight. Many people even moved the small benches and waited to watch the show. The result is this. I don't know whether to say Feng Shi is too good at playing, or Ying Filong and Si Shan are too good at fooling around. Hu Wangkui was blowing his beard and staring. How could Feng Shi have the scent of attracting beasts? Needless to say, it must have been sent by his unfilial disciple who turned his elbow outward again. Hard work paid off. Feng Shi and the others finally attracted a strange-looking lizard, which was probably assembled from the characteristics of various monsters. After catching it, Feng Shi forced it to lead them to find the water source. Let alone the crime suffered on the road. The wind and sand made it hard to keep your eyes open, and the big sun above your head made you dizzy for a while. What's terrible is that you will encounter quicksand from time to time. If you react slowly, you will be buried alive. So always have to be vigilant, not only the slightest sack. After untold hardships, the three finally arrived near the water source. This is a small lake. The lake water reflects the blue sky and white clouds, and there are some trees growing on the shore. It is rare to see such a spectacle in the desert. It's just that the three of them didn't dare to approach, because there were many monsters drinking water on the shore, and there was a huge monster lying in the water, closing its eyes and resting its mind. The three of them retreated silently for tens of miles before stopping. Ying Filong frowned and said, most of the monsters on the shore are at the foundation establishment stage, and fewer at the early and middle stages of Golden Core. The one in the lake is likely to be the late Jindan stage. We have no chance at all. Si Shan also drooped his head and said, if there is a middle stage Golden Core among us, we can still fight. Eat up those terrestrial monsters first, and then clean up the late Jindan. But the cultivation of the three of us, let alone the late stage of Jindan, the rest can't handle it. The people who eat melons think so too. The rookie chicken combination had no chance of winning at all. Blame it on bad luck. However, in cultivation, luck is also a part of strength. Li Nangxi and the others felt conflicted. On the one hand, they felt that it was good to be eliminated like this, so as not to see Feng Shi sneering there again. On the other hand, I don't want Ying Filong and Si Shan to be eliminated, 2 for 1 is not appropriate. At this moment, Feng Shi said, how about you say I'm going to fool those monsters? Find a way to persuade them to help us deal with the late Jindan monster, and then we will kill the donkey and kill them. Ying Filong and Si Shan. You seem to be talking nonsense. People who eat melons are not surprised. Coming, another familiar recipe. Can Feng Shi succeed in fooling her this time? Although Ying Filong and Si Shan felt that Feng Shi was talking nonsense, but now there is no other way but to be a dead horse as a living horse doctor. The three of them sneaked back to the lake again, and it happened that a few monsters that looked like wolves walked over from the lake. Feng Shi stretched out her little paw. I have strut stones and pills here, let's talk. As soon as the words fell, those demon wolves rushed towards Feng Shi and the others with red eyes, as if Feng Shi had strangled the cubs to death. Feng Shi didn't even blink her eyes, she just ran away. When Ying Filong and Si Shan came to their senses, there was only a small black spot left on the sky. The two were startled and angry, so they could only run along. After finally getting rid of those wolves, when Ying Filong was about to raise his teacher to question him, Feng Shi said with a look of disgust. Brother Ying, do you know why those demon wolves go berserk? It's because of your red hair. In the eyes of monsters, you are Chi Guguo's provocation. You do not believe. If you have time to inquire, we all use red cloth for bullfighting in the secular world of the human race, and of course the same is true for monsters. Ying Filong was stunned. What happened? No wonder, every time I go to the nether forest for trials, monsters chase me. Could it really be because of my red hair? How about I wear a hat in the future? _left previous home index next _right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 117 Drinking iced fruit tea in the desert. Ying Filong quickly realized that Feng Shi was just talking nonsense and making fun of him. Immediately embarrassed. Feng Shi, you are courting death. Feng Shi dodged his attack lightly. Brother Ying, why are you so small-minded? I'm just joking, are you still angry? If you feel unbalanced in your heart, you can arrange me too. Say whatever you want, I'm sure I won't be angry. Si Shan hurriedly smoothed things over. Okay, now is not the time to bicker, let's quickly find a way to pass. Only then did Ying Filong give up. The point is that Feng Shi ran too fast, he couldn't catch up at all. He said angrily, it's useless to think about it, there must be no way to pass. Feng Shi leaned over, it's not too late, come on, let's eat something. I have seafood porridge from the endless sea, monster meat kebabs from the polar ice field, and various delicacies. Which one do you want to eat? After Feng Shi finished speaking, she took out a menu. She prepared this for Xiao Beidao and asked him to order food every day. Ying Filong and Si Shan were dumbfounded. The last person chose a few. After eating, Feng Shi took out iced fruit tea to cool them down. The two felt so happy. The melon-eating crowd outside the Chang'an banner. Someone swallowed secretly. Didn't it say that Chuanshnong was poor? It turns out that just eating casually is such a luxury. Only Hu Wangkui and Bailey Muchen knew what was going on. These are all Feng's eyes beggars from them. While sipping iced fruit tea, Feng Shi pondered, Chang'an banner must have changed the settings for the formation beast, so that hearing her voice was like seeing an enemy. This trick of fooling the monsters will not work. What should I do? When she was at a loss, other teams had found water sources one after another and started to act. Basically, it is a way to defeat the monsters one by one, and finally deal with the monster of the late Jindan stage. As long as we work together, we should be able to pass the test in 7 days. Si Che's team made the fastest progress, because Si Che had magic pupils, which could confuse the attacking monster's mind, and the other two teammates took the opportunity to attack the monster's vitals. In second place was Shen Zhilin's group. Besides her, there were Qin Shifeng and Liu Shebai in this group. Qin Shifeng is in the middle stage of Jindan, and Shen Zhilin has the ability to fight beyond the ranks. Although Liu Shebai's cultivation base is slightly lower, but he is proficient in formations and can lead monsters into the formations before hunting them down. Ranked third is the group Jiang Ji, Junwen and Xing Wu. Although Junwen and Xing Wu are not very reliable in their work, it is not bad to have Jiang Ji overpowering them, and the three of them have fire protection beads, so the hot weather has no effect on them. The progress of the remaining groups is about the same. The most useless one is naturally the combination of vegetables and chickens. So far, not a single monster has been killed. The three of them ate and drank enough and lay down there, as if the three were full for nothing. Ying Filong gritted his teeth and said, I'm thinking about it. At worst, I will be eliminated. If you don't leave me here, I will have my place. Si Shan also said, yes, if there is really no other way, we can only accept our fate, and we can only blame our bad luck. Fang Shi didn't say a word. After a while, he said, the condition for passing the test is to completely control the water source. How about you say that I put some poison in the lake? In this way, it is guaranteed that no monster dares to drink it. Ying Filong and Si Shan. Let's not talk about whether your method will damage or not, the key is such a big lake, where do you get so much poison? Fang Shi continued to babble, or let's set up a sign and write the names of the three of us on it, which means that this lake belongs to us. Ying Filong and Si Shan didn't bother to talk to her anymore. Pure nonsense. The melon-eating crowd outside the Chang'an banner sighed one after another. Fang Shi is totally out of luck this time. Also, Qian Kun banner suffered a big loss before, so he will definitely fix the loophole. Now those formation beasts go crazy when they hear her speak, and she can't fool her at all. No matter how good her brain is, she's going to be screwed this time. It's a pity that she was assigned to this group. If she changed the group, she might pass the test. That's why cultivation is the most important thing. Cleverness can be used for a while but not for a lifetime. Ellipsis. Xiao Beidao was smiling on the surface, but he was scolding his mother in his heart. A bunch of bastards. Don't even think about it, Xiaoxi's Danshan is still injured. Not only is she alive and kicking, but she can also use magic formulas, which is already very powerful, okay. When her Danshan is completely healed, she will definitely be 100 times stronger than that Shenjilin. When the time comes, which one of you still beeps? However, even if he didn't want to admit it, he also knew that these people were right in their words, and the hurdle of the precious apprentice would be hard to pass. It doesn't matter if you can't make it through, anyway, the baby apprentice also has a lot of money, which is enough. 3 days passed in a blink of an eye. The other groups were all working diligently to kill the monsters. The vegetable chicken team went to sleep when they were full, and listened to Fang Shi's beeping when they woke up, and went back to sleep when they were sleepy. Of course, it wasn't just Fang Shi who beeped, Ying Filong and Si Shan also beeped a lot. Let's put it this way, Fang Shi even knows the surnames of their 2 cooks. Li Nangxi and the others outside the Chang'an banner almost died of anger. Xin said, are you too short-hearted? What do you say when people ask you? This is also in the Chang'an banner, if this is on the battlefield, you will have to count the money for her if you are sold by her. Although the human race has always been treacherous and untrustworthy, they have never seen such a dog. Just when everyone thought that the vegetable chicken group had given up completely, Fang Shi stood up. Then he took out a formation plate from the storage ring, and slowly stuffed a few high-grade strut stones into it. After a while, a big cage covered her, and there was a formation beast wagging its head and tail inside. Fang Shi said with a smile, Bao, let's meet again. Of course, the formation beast has no memory. But I can't stand Fang Shi's flickering. In a few words, this formation beast agreed to be Fang Zai's younger brother. Fang Shi breathed a sigh of relief. It seems that the Chang'an banner just changed the settings of the formation beasts in the 6th level, and the previous ones can still be used. And it works great. So, she greeted Ying Filong and Si Shan, who were stunned, into the cage, because the level of the formation beast triggered by this was relatively high. After going back and forth several times, Fang Shi was followed by a large group of formation beasts. It even triggered a few formation beasts in the early stage of Jindan. Fang Shi narrowed her eyes and counted, and asked Ying Filong and Si Shan. Do you think it's enough? Do you need me to make some more? You can have as much of this thing as you want. Not to mention controlling the water source, I can control this desert, do you believe it or not? Ying Filong and Si Shan nodded in a daze, I believe. Believe it or not. The number of formation beasts that Fang Shi has produced now is more than 3 times that of those monsters by the lake. And it seems that if she wants to, she can make more. Fang Shi ordered the formation beast army to stand in line and started the ideological education work. It probably means, only by following her can we have meat. Only by following her can we see more scenery in our limited life. Only by following her can one reach the peak of animal life. After some education, the souls of these formation beasts have been sublimated. Life is endless, chasing light is endless. Fang Shi is the light in their short lives. The only light. Good night, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 118. What do you guys think of me? The melon eaters outside the Chang'an banner were silent as if they were being strangled by someone. Even Xiao Beidao was stunned by his little apprentice's coquettish manipulation. After a while, someone said, Fang Shi, what a talent. Everyone. What the hell are you talking like nonsense? She is not only a talent but also a wizard. No, genius. People can't think of her methods at all. Fang Shi didn't continue to release the formation beast. The key is that this guy loves Ling Shi. Almost there. Even though her forces were superior, she did not rush to attack aggressively. Instead, let Ying Filong and Si Shan act as bait to lure a group of monsters over. Ying Filong and Si Shan didn't even ask why they were the bait, and went obediently. Soon, they attracted a dozen monsters. With Fang Shi's order, those formation beasts started a gang fight mode. The dozen or so monsters were all stunned. Where did these things come from? Shouldn't you be with us? How to deal with us in turn? In less than half a quarter of an hour, the dozen or so monsters were beaten to the ground. Fang Shi said with a smile, don't you all go crazy when you hear my voice. Come on, show me the crazy one. Those monsters glared at her. Fang Shi pursed her lips, and immediately some formation beasts began to teach them the duties as formation beasts. Finally, those monsters lowered their stubborn heads. No matter how harsh Fang Zai's words were, no matter how violent they were made, it didn't matter. Little life matters. Besides, once you get used to it, it doesn't sound that bad anymore, and it's even a little beautiful. Fang Shi followed the same pattern and incorporated all the remaining monsters into her formation beast army. Now only the giant beast remained. This time, Fang Shi took the initiative to be the bait. Because the giant beast was obviously more intelligent than the other monsters, she was afraid that Ying Filong and Si Xian would not be able to lure it from the lake. In addition, she was not sure whether the giant beast was a terrestrial monster or an aquatic monster. If it was an aquatic monster, it would be very bad for them to fight near the lake. After Fang Shi made arrangements, she jumped to the vicinity of the lake. She waved her paw at the giant beast. How lonely and boring you are as a beast. Shall we talk about 10 spread stones? When the giant beast heard Fang Zai's words, it instantly jumped into a rage, and roared angrily. It rushed towards her. Following its movements, the ground trembled, and even the water in the lake stirred up wind and waves. Fang Shi turned around and ran, shouting while running. Speak as you speak, why are you so anxious? I see you are lonely and cold, so I want to introduce you to a wife, what do you think? The giant beast almost died of anger. Wife. Didn't this stinky girl call her old in disguise? Originally, it became manic when it heard Fang Shi's voice, but now it has become crazy. I just want to slap Fang Shi to death with one paw. So even though Fang Shi had already run away for tens of miles, it was still chasing after her. Finally, Fang Shi led it into the encirclement circle, and the army of formation beasts surrounded the giant beasts. The behemoth is dumbfounded. Here, what's going on? All rebelled. Before it could react, those formation beasts had already launched an attack. The three of Fang Shi also joined the battle. It is true that the giant beast is the late stage of Jindan, but it can't stand so many magic beasts. What's more, there is Fang Shi, a bad thief. She didn't make a move at all, but sat on a formation beast holding a small wooden sword and banging there. Don't struggle, as the saying goes, those who know the current affairs are heroes, so you just follow me. As long as you obey me obediently, not only will I not kill you, but I will also give you delicious food, and let you taste the delicious food outside the universe. I can also tell you about the outside world and let you know how ridiculous you are as a frog in a well. Ellipsis. When the giant beast was distracted by listening, the wooden sword in Fang Shi's hand suddenly shot out and went straight to its right eye. The giant beast was frightened and quickly avoided it. In the end, Fang Shi's move was false, and the wooden sword turned around and stabbed at its throat. The giant beast hid a little slower, a hole was cut in the neck, and blood gushed out. It roared to the sky, you lied to me. Fang Shi bared her small white teeth, you don't even know how to fight tricks, you're so stupid. The giant beast not only had to deal with the attack of the array beast army, but also played tricks with Fang Shi, and soon fell into a disadvantage. An hour later, he finally collapsed to the ground due to exhaustion, dying. Fang Shi didn't kill it. He also gave it medicine. We have no grievances or enmities, and there is no need to divide life and death. In fact, I don't understand why Chankanbana has to use this method to assess us. In fact, it's enough to just defeat you, but it just wants your life. The giant beast and a group of formation beasts were lost in thought. Yes, why would Chankanbana do this? The reason is very simple, don't take them seriously. They're nothing but formation beasts. A burst of sadness welled up in my heart. Fang Shi slapped her hands. Forget it, let's not talk about these boring things. It is also fate that we met. I will do my best to let you feel the beauty of the outside world. Fang Shi said, and took out the image transfer stone from the storage ring. After the excitation, the picture of her on the polar ice field, the picture of her in the endless sea, the picture of her flying with a sword in the sky, and the picture of her in the flower sea of Hunyuanzong appeared on the screen. Fang Shi also took out a lot of monster meat and food from the storage ring and distributed them to the formation beasts. Although they couldn't really digest these foods, they finally tasted the different taste on the tip of their tongues. It turns out that this is sour, sweet, bitter, spicy and salty. This is the beauty of life. The monster took the initiative to let Fang Shi sit on his back, and then took her to the lake. Ying Filong and Si Xian followed, running. And there is no formation beast willing to let them ride. Why not run? Soon, Fang Shi and the others arrived near the lake. When the three of them stood in the lake, the scene in front of them changed. They passed the 6th level as number 1 and got rich rewards. Ying Filong and Si Xian wanted to say something but didn't know what to say, a little at a loss. Fang Shi yawned, the other groups estimate whether they will pass the test in a while. I'll sleep for a while, and you should also hurry up and rest. After finishing speaking, he took out the small wooden bed from the storage ring and fell asleep soundly. Ying Filong and Si Xian looked at each other, leaning against the wall to meditate and adjust their breath. Fang Shi woke up and didn't see any other team members coming out, so she started chattering. Brother Ying, Brother Si, what do you think of me? Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 119 The big fat sheep of the demon race is so cute. Ying Filong and Si Xian. When the two were racking their brains to figure out the words, Fang Shi said, you don't need to say it, I also know that you must think that I am as beautiful as a flower, as beautiful as a flower, as beautiful as a flower, as smart as a flower, and unparalleled in the world. Ying Filong and Si Xian, No wonder you know so many idioms. Fang Shi changed the subject, but these are not important, the important thing is that I have great love. Not to mention anything else, you are the demon race, I am the human race, especially senior brother Ying, we had festivals before. However, I put all of these on cloud 9. Because there is no distinction between human race and demon race in Chang'an Banner, we are all brothers and sisters. Ying Filong and Si Shan nodded involuntarily, the 6th level was indeed thanks to Fang Shi. Fang Shi continued. To put it bluntly, even outside, we are still fighting between the two clans, and we have no personal grudges at all. And everyone is the best of the younger generation, and they will definitely cherish each other. This is also a rare opportunity for everyone to get to know each other better. Besides, there is no permanent enemy in this world, maybe one day we humans and demons will form an alliance. So there is no need to yell and kill as soon as we meet, we have to treat people with courtesy. Not to mention anything else, senior brother Ying, you cremated me before, don't you think it's a little too much? Ying Tianlong looked embarrassed. I was just thinking about it at the time, no, I don't have any other thoughts. Fang Shi sighed, senior brother Ying, you may not know that it would be bad luck for us human race to have our portraits burned, let alone models. If you want to resolve it, you have to spend a lot of strode stones to set up a magic circle. It's a pity, I'm penniless, I'm afraid I don't have the money to set up a magic circle. Ying Tianlong hurriedly said, this matter is my fault, I'll just give you the money. Is 100,000 strode stones enough? Although demons generally use magic crystals, they can actually absorb the strode energy in strode stones. Therefore, many demon nobles also have a lot of strode stones in their hands. Fang Shi originally thought that it would be good to get strode stones, but she didn't expect Ying Tianlong's wool to be so thick. After making some excuses, he reluctantly accepted it. Outside the Chang'an Banner, Ying Chanli, the elder of the Shadow Demon clan, was humming with anger. He glared at Xiao Beidao fiercely, you are a good apprentice. Xiao Beidao was not ashamed but proud, and said with a smile, yes, Shashi is indeed the best among the apprentices I have taught. Ying Chanli. No wonder that Fang Shi has no skin and no face, it turns out that the upper beam is not straight and the lower beam is crooked. Fang Shi naturally didn't know what was going on outside, she was very happy in her heart. The big fat sheep of the Mizzou is so cute. If you have the opportunity, you must go for a stroll in the demon realm, and you will definitely be able to return with a rewarding experience. After a full day and night, the other groups passed the test one after another. The first to come out was Si Che's team. When he saw the three of Fang Shi, his face became stiff for a moment. He always thought that they were number one, but he didn't expect these three trash to take the lead. Seeing Si Shi's expression, Ying Filong and Si Shan were so happy. This Si Che is usually crazy, but what happened? No, he was still stepped on by us. Therefore, they had a little more affection for Fang Shi. Shen Jilan's group came out next. When Shen Jilan saw Fang Shi, her face froze. The jealousy in my heart spread like a poisonous weed. Fang Shi. It's Fang Shi again. Obviously she had already made enough preparations, why did she still let Fang Shi overwhelm her? Soon, the group of Jiang Ji, Zheng Wen and Xing Wu also came out. Zheng Wen saw Ying Filong and Si Shan sitting next to Fang Shi, and he was almost sour. In the past, Xing Wu was the only one fighting for the junior sister, but now, even the demons are shamelessly fighting for the junior sister. He took 3 steps and took 2 steps to approach Fang Shi, squeezed between Fang Shi and Ying Filong. Xing Wu also jumped over and pulled Si Xianpa on the other side to the side. We are the real brothers and sisters, why you demons come here to join in the fun? Ying Filong and Si Shan felt a little empty in their hearts, but now that everyone has come out, it's hard for them to stay here any longer, and return to the demon team. Jiang Ji came over and asked in a low voice. Junior sister, the two of them didn't bully you, did they? Even though he knew that Fang Shi was the only one who bullied others, in his heart, junior sister would always be the object of protection. Fang Shi shook her head, no, our cooperation is very good. Did you make it through? Tell me in detail. Jiang Ji immediately explained the process, and Fang Shi helped analyze the advantages and disadvantages, and then explained the process of passing the test. Zheng Wen and Xing Wu are even more sour. Why didn't they put them into a group with junior sister? They also want to lie down and win. The 7th level is still a group assessment, but this time it is a group of 6. Different from the rules of other levels, only the top 2 will advance to this level, and the last 2 will be eliminated directly. In other words, this level will eliminate half of the disciples. Coincidentally, Jiang Ji, Zheng Wen, Xing Wu, Fang Shi, Ying Filong and Si Shan were divided into a group. It is also the weakest group among the 4 groups. Because of the other 3 groups, each group has at least 2 golden core or magic core disciples. In Shen Jilan's group, there was even 1 golden core stage and 2 demon core stages, and Si Shi was also in this group. To the surprise of the people who eat melons, after learning the result of the grouping, apart from Jiang Ji's frowning, Zheng Wen and the 4 of them were all smiling. Very good. You can lie down with your junior sister and win. Everyone was speechless. It's true that Fang Shi is powerful, but she also scored points. Chang'an Banner has suffered so many losses before, and will definitely make corresponding adjustments this time. Look, Fang Shi's group will definitely be eliminated. There is one more chapter, after finishing writing, it will be posted at about 1 o'clock. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog, chapter 120 senior brother, they killed me. The Chang'an Banner gave everyone a day to rest. The melon eaters outside Chang'an Banner also used this time to rest. Eating melon is also tiring. A day later, the 7th level opened. The light curtain is divided into 4 pieces, and each group occupies 1 piece. In everyone's mind, Shen Jilan's group must have advanced, and now it's up to the other 3 groups to see who will get another spot. At this time, these elite disciples were in a valley. The tasks will also be announced. In the valley of Tianyuan, there is a kind of demon plant called Tianyuan Shenmu, whose cultivation level is comparable to that of Yuanying's early stage. Its trunk is parasitic with a kind of natural treasure called Ziling mushroom. The two teams that were able to collect 10 purple strode mushrooms first advanced. Close black lens bracket. After hearing about the mission, Xingwu urged Feng Shi to quickly release the formation beasts to escort them. Feng Shi curled her lips. I'm afraid I can't let it out. Sure enough, there was no response after stuffing the strode stone into the formation disc. This was within Feng Shi's expectation. Chang'an's ability to make up for a dead sheep is still quite strong. Ying Filong was dumbfounded. Feng Shi, without the help of formation beasts, and our group's cultivation is so poor, let alone 10 purple spread mushrooms, it is estimated that even one is difficult. Xingwu rolled his eyes. You know what? Even if there is no formation beast, the little junior sister will still lead us to lie down and win. Ying Filong being polite to Feng Shi does not mean being polite to Xingwu. Immediately, he was furious and wanted to find Xingwu desperately. Feng Shi coughed. Okay, stop arguing. Xingwu and Ying Filong were as quiet as chickens. Jiangji. Forget about Xingwu, why is this Ying Filong so obedient? Feng Shi pondered for a while and said. Let's familiarize ourselves with the terrain first, at least we won't get lost when we run away. After getting familiar with the terrain, let's find a Tianyuan Shenmu to see the situation first. A few people immediately began to familiarize themselves with the terrain cautiously, and Ying Filong screamed as soon as they walked out for less than a mile. Jiangji and the others turned their heads to look over, and saw that Ying Filong was almost completely swallowed by a red flower, leaving only his feet outside. Jiangji shot a sword at the branches of the flowers. Black sap flowed from the branches, and the flowers drooped. Feng Shi and the others managed to get Ying Filong out even after pulling and tugging. Ying Filong's body was covered with mucus, his eyes were already swollen, and he was sweating profusely from the pain. Apparently the slime from the flowers is poisonous. Feng Shi hurriedly used the water mist formula to wash Ying Filong's eyes and body mucus, and then took out a wash basin full of pills. Picked 3 pills from inside and handed them to Ying Filong. Ying Filong didn't care too much and swallowed it. Si Shan's expression was dull. Is the human elixir already in a basin? No wonder our demon race has never been able to get any bargains on the battlefield. It turns out that the human race is already so terrifying. At this time, Jiangji asked Feng Shi, little sister, do you know this kind of yaoji? Feng Shi really knew her. It is mentioned on the jade slips that this kind of demon plant is called bloodthirsty ground lotus. They hide underground on weekdays, and when they encounter prey, they will break out from the ground and swallow people or monsters into the flower buds, and the venom will be corroded and turned into nutrients. This kind of venom is not too toxic, just take several detoxification pills together. Sure enough, Ying Filong's eyes quickly subsided, and his complexion improved a lot. Ying Filong quickly expressed his thanks, and his admiration for Feng Shi in his heart was raised to another level. Who cannot worship his savior? I don't know how many times the frying pan outside Chang'an banner. Only a few classics record the bloodthirsty lotus, how does Feng Shi know? Billions of precious things, and they can be better preserved in porcelain bottles, but she actually uses pots. This is too outrageous. Whether it's true or not, where did she get that pot of elixir? Xuanshnong couldn't be pretending to be poor, he. Ellipsis. Everyone looked at Xiao Beidao. Xiao Beidao really didn't know that the young apprentice was a genius in alchemy. After all, his impression of Feng Shi's alchemy had always remained in the smoky stage. So, the old man started thinking about it. Where? Wouldn't it be a beggar again? He coughed twice. Our Xuanshan sect is one of the 4 major sects, and there are many ancient books in the library pavilion. The kid Xiaoxi ran to Zhang's huge whenever he had nothing to do, so it was not surprising that he knew the bloodthirsty lotus. As for the pot of elixir, Xiaoxi received a lot of rewards in the first few levels, and they were all packed in brocade boxes and porcelain bottles. Maybe she felt that those things were in the way, so she poured all the pills into the basin for easy counting. When Xiao Beidao said this, both his expression and tone were very natural, so many people believed it. After all, the name of Feng Shi's alchemy waste has been passed down for a long time. I heard that the low-level strode beasts in the back mountain of Xuanshnong have all turned into smoked bacon. Therefore, this pot of elixir must not have been made by her. At the same time, Shen Zhilan's group also encountered bloodthirsty ground lotus. It's just that she discovered it in advance and reminded everyone. So no one in the group got hurt. Because of this incident, the 2 disciples of the magic pill in the group praised her very much. Shen Zhilan's expression was still indifferent, but her steps became much lighter. The other 2 groups were not so lucky, and both were recruited. Fortunately, there are alchemists in each group, so it's not a big problem. Only then did the people outside Chang'an banner realize that the other groups had alchemists, talisman makers, or formation masters. Only Feng Shi's group had nothing but Xingwu, a useless beast master. It's really miserable if you want to cultivate but have no cultivation, and you need skills but no skills. In addition, this level is all demon plants, and it is estimated that Qian Kunfen did it on purpose. After all, no matter how Feng Shi can fool you, there is no way to fool Yaoji. Don't care what the people outside think, John, when they're full of confidence. The little junior sister even knows the bloodthirsty ground lotus, so she is really omnipotent. Not far away, Jiangji suddenly shouted, back. When Feng Shi and the others heard this, they hurriedly backed away. As soon as they retreated, several vines appeared in front of them and rolled over. The vines are full of barbs, and one can imagine what the consequences will be if they are wrapped around a person. It took a lot of effort for several people to force those vines back to the ground. Jiangji said in a low voice, I know that the 4 of you have great confidence in the little junior sister, but there are monster plants everywhere here, and if you don't pay attention, you will be in danger of your life. Cheer me up, or you will be at your own peril. Jiangji is usually a very gentle person, but now he is strict, but very intimidating. Even Ying Filong and Si Xian quickly nodded in agreement. Fang Shi nodded like a little chicken. Brother, you are right. In fact, I have no skills, they just want to kill me. You heard the four of them. No matter how you say it, several people have raised their vigilance. Fang Shi suddenly thought of the puppets he met before. It would be great if there were a few puppets, they could be cannon fodder to scout the way ahead. I don't know if there is any relevant content in the jade slips in the Sea of Consciousness. If there are, she will make a few of them. As for the appearance, just follow the appearance of the fifth senior brother and the four of them. Jun heard that the four of them felt a little cold for no reason, so they quickly raised their vigilance, for fear of Yaji's sneak attack. As soon as I thought of this, thorns shot out from the front. Several people shot one after another, and this saved the day. In the next less than 5 miles, they encountered nearly 10 attacks. Fang Shi frowned. Eldest senior brother, we can't go any further. We spend a lot of physical and spiritual energy after only walking for such a short distance. If we don't want to find other ways, we will have no way to deal with high-level demon plants. Jiangji felt that what she said made sense, but what else could he think of? No flying here, only walking. Fang Shi's formation beast couldn't be released either. To be exact, not only the formation beasts, but also the spiritual pets could not be released. Otherwise, Xingwu would have released his spiritual pet long ago. The six found a relatively safe place to rest, and arranged 2 groups of 2 to take turns to guard. Fang Shi gnawed on the spiritual fruit while thinking of a way. Suddenly my eyes lit up, and there it is. Good night, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 121. You are noble, I can't afford to offend you. Jiangji and the others looked at Fang Shi expectantly. Fang Shi said slowly, did you find any difference between this level and other levels? Xingwu was very clever and immediately said, there are so many Yaoji in this level. I have never seen Yaoji in other levels. Junwen curled his lips, it's up to you to say. Anyone with long eyes can see it. The difference that my junior sister mentioned is definitely not this. I think the formation beasts in other levels are pieced together, but the Yaoji in this level is exactly the same as in reality. Junior sister, am I right? Fang Shi nodded, senior brother fifth is right. This level is closer to reality than other levels. The Yaoji we have encountered are no different from the real ones. Junwen immediately glanced at Xingwu proudly. Foreign is foreign. This tacit understanding is not good. It has to be our brothers and sisters. This is called a tacit understanding. Fang Shi continued. Because this place is the same as reality, I thought of a clever plan. You see, what is that? Jiangji and the others looked in the direction of Fang Shi's finger, and saw a few strip bees collecting honey in the flowers in the distance. There are gorgeous patterns on the abdomen. It is a colorful stinger wasp, which is extremely poisonous. Fang Shi hooked her lips. No matter how evil the monsters are, they have to use the strip bees to pollinate them, so as long as we control the strip bees, these monster plants have to obey me, otherwise I will let them die. Junwen. Jiangji and the others. Let's just say, how did you come up with this bad move? The key is, how do you control the strip bee? Don't control the strip bee, and get stung by the strip bee again. That thing is poisonous. After weighing, Jiangji still agreed with Fang Shi's solution. It's okay to disagree, 5 to 1. After everyone rested, they sneakily followed the strip bees to find the hive. The strip bee is similar to the secular bee. As long as you don't take the initiative to attack it, it generally ignores you. Therefore, even though Fang Shi and the others were near the hive, they were not attacked by the strip bees. Fang Shi walked around the hive a few times, and then asked Jiangji and the others to back off, so as not to suffer for a while. Jiangji was worried, and was about to tell Fang Shi a few words, when he saw that Junwen and the four had already run away. Jiangji. There is no reliable thing. In fact, the idea of the four of Junwen is very simple. They can do whatever the junior sister asks them to do, and they will only get in the way if they're chattering. Jiangji repeatedly told Fang Shi to be careful, and then left worried. Fang Shi got herself a spiritual shield, and then shouted at the hive. Is the queen bee at home? Come out and chat. What responded to her was a group of buzzing sounds, and the sprig bees came overwhelming. Then it hit the top of the iceberg. That's right, ice from the polar ice sheets came in handy again. Those worker bees were as cold as a sieve, let alone attacking Fang Shi. If they stayed any longer, their lives would be ruined. Fang Shi stood on the ice mountain, and said slowly. I'm the most reasonable person, so I always put the etiquette first and then the soldiers. Queen bee, if you don't come out again, your subordinates will burp. After a while, a queen bee that was at least 3 times the size of the other sprig bees came out of the hive. Its abdomen is particularly fat, and its compound eyes are full of fierce light. It's just that because of the constant shivering due to the cold, the fierceness has become funny. Fang Shi said with a smile. I'm not going around the bush anymore, let's just say it. I want to find the Tianyuan Shenmu to collect purple spread mushrooms, but there are so many monster plants here, it affects the efficiency too much. So, I want to borrow your bee colony. There is no need for anything else, just open the way for me, let those monster plants be more sensible, and don't attack us. Of course, the principle of voluntariness is adopted, and it doesn't matter if you don't agree. After this guy finished speaking, he took out a special container containing magma from the storage ring, and poured out a little. This stuff is delicious, much better than nectar. Do you want to try it? Queen bee. What the hell is this voluntary? Don't worry, I don't order you for nothing. In return, I will give you some pills so that you can improve your cultivation level. Only when your cultivation level has increased can you stabilize your position as the queen bee, otherwise you will be replaced by a new queen bee sooner or later. How about it? Agree to cooperate. The queen bee, willingly, agreed. Do not agree. Whether it's icebergs or lava, either can destroy the hive. Seeing that it agreed, Fangxi put away Bingshan and gave half of the deposit to the queen bee. Then, he brought a bunch of strip bees to Jiangji and the others. Although Jiangji and the others didn't hear what Fangxi said, they guessed a thing or two when they saw the iceberg. Ying Filong and Si Shan were stunned. She actually carried an iceberg with her. What is this operation? Unheard, unseen. Fangxi immediately led the swarm to find a demonic plant named Chichen Helianthus. This kind of monster plant has a golden flower disc, and when the prey approaches, the leaves will explode, and the prey will be hanged alive. Seeing Fangxi, the leaves of Chichen Helianthus waved wildly. Fangxi clicked his tongue and said, "Are you blind? Don't you see what I am doing right now? I am the king of bees. If you dare to touch half of my vellus hair, I will stop the bee colony from pollinating you, and make you die. You don't have to worry about what the bee colonies don't eat, I can give them catties of strichel honey. Guarantee that they can be eaten for 10 lifetimes. The Chichen Hankui silently retracted its leaves. You are awesome, you are noble, I can't afford to offend you. Fangxi won the first battle, full of confidence. She let the swarm surround the 6 of them, and then walked on. The bee colony is very familiar with the distribution of demon plants, even those hidden underground. Every time she encounters Yaoji, she will give an early warning, and Fangxi will use the name of the queen bee to scare Yaoji, and she has tried repeatedly. After all, nothing is as important as reproduction. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 122 The Sneaky Earth Spread Root. The bee colony also knew where the Heavenly Abyss Divine Tree was, so they quickly took Fangxi and the others to find one. At this time, the other 3 teams were still fighting with the Yaojas, and some of them were even injured. What a contrast. The melon eaters outside Chang'an Banner didn't fry the pot this time, because they were already numb to Fangxi's showmanship. Besides, the ultimate task is to pick purple spread mushrooms, and these monster plants on the road are just appetizers. There is no need for spread bees to pollinate Tianyuan Shenmu, so her trick will not work. Fangxi and the others didn't dare to get close to the Tianyuan Shenmu, they just watched from afar. After all, the opponent is Yaoji in the early stage of Yuanying, and if he is not careful, his life will be lost. The 6 people all took a breath when they saw the Tianyuan Shenmu. Blot out the sky, behemoth. There are a few purple mushrooms sporadically growing on the dark brown trunk, which are the purple spread mushrooms. The hearts of Jiangji and the others were half cooled. The branches of Tianyuan Shenmu are dense, and I am afraid that they will have to explain before they get close, let alone pick the purple spread mushroom. Spread mushroom. If it is another group, it is possible to win the mid-term cooperation of the 2 Jindan and the cooperation of other people. But the group is too difficult. Xingwu tentatively said, "Junior sister, why don't you try Bingshan again?" Before Fangxi could speak, Ying Filong said, "It's useless. The Tianyuan Shenmu is not those spread bees. As long as it frantically twitches its branches, the iceberg will be turned into powder in an instant." In order to verify his words, he turned his devilish energy into a mad dragon and approached the Tianyuan Shenmu. When it was still tens of feet away, it was scattered lightly by the branches of Tianyuan Shenmu. Like an old man playing with their urchin. Everyone is even more discouraged now. I'm afraid I can't pass this level. Fangxi also felt that it would definitely not work to be tough, even if it took her own life, it would be useless. It's a pity that most Yaoji can't leave the place, otherwise she can fool some Yaoji to come to help. Ha, it seems that Tianyuan Shenmu can leave the original place. Her eyeballs rolled around, and she asked the swarm. How many Tianyuan sacred trees are there in total? If there are a few, you can fly to my right hand for a few. Immediately, 5 spread bees flew to Fangxi's right side. Fangxi suddenly had an idea. She used her spiritual power to shout at the Tianyuan Shenmu. Hey! As the saying goes, one mountain cannot accommodate 2 tigers. Do you want to be king or hegemony? If you want, let's cooperate. I can hand over the control of the spread bee to you, and from now on, you will control the breeding rights of the demon plant in the Valley of the Abyss. As long as you kill the other 4 Heavenly Abyss divine trees, this Heavenly Abyss Valley will be yours. Don't worry, I don't have any other purpose, I just want 10 purple spread mushrooms after it's done. How about cooperation? I can actually find the other 4 Tianyuan Shenmu, but we are the first to meet, I still believe in fate. After a while, the branches of Tianyuan Shenmu shook. Fangxi blinked her eyes. You want to ask me how to kill the other 4 Tianyuan Shenmu? This is simple, you shrink the body and find a place to ambush in advance. I lure a nearby Tianyuan Shenmu over there, and I will catch it by surprise. After it dies, you absorb its spiritual core, and it will be easy to deal with the next one. How about it? Do you cooperate? Tianyuan Shenmu remained silent for a while. Fangxi sneered coldly, what? You dare not. These days, the brave and the cowardly starve to death. If you are timid, wait to be killed by other Tianyuan Shenmu. After finishing speaking, he said to Jiangji and the others. Let's go. Find the other 4 Tianyuan Shenmu to discuss cooperation. Just a few steps after they walked out, the Tianyuan Shenmu behind them made a rustling sound. Its stature rapidly became smaller, and finally became only more than 1 foot tall. Pulling out the roots from the soil, they walked towards Fangxi and the others like an octopus. Fangxi was secretly happy, and after saying a few flattering words, the Tianyuan Shenmu didn't know which root to step on first. Fangxi let Tianyuan Shenmu know, and Jiangji hide, and then went to provoke Tianyuan Shenmu know. Alone. Jiangji rushed to go. Fangxi asked him, are you sure to provoke it and led it here? Jiangji shut up. He has nothing to be afraid of when it comes to fighting, but if he's playing tricks, let's go, junior sister. Fangxi, led by the swarm, found Tianyuan Shenmu no. Only you have the nerve to call Tianyuan Shenmu. The trees next to our Zongman's hut are more divine than you. Why are you not convinced? You have the ability to chase me. Don't you dare, for someone like you, just change your name to Tianyuan Sumu. Ellipsis. How could Tianyuan Shenmu know, have suffered from such a useless attitude, and immediately shrunk down to a height of more than 1 foot, and rushed towards Fengxi. At the same time, the coercion of Yuan Ying's initial stage was released. Normally, not to mention Fengxi is in the Qi refining period, even the foundation building period would be intimidated by coercion. However, Fengxi was still alive and kicking, running fast. Because her sea of consciousness has been tempered by jade slips, and it has already become extremely powerful. Tianyuan Shenmu no is a demon plant after all, even in the early stage of Yuan Ying, its speed is not as fast as that of monks or monsters. Therefore, Fengxi led it into the ambush circle without any risk. Tianyuan Shenmu no had already held back its energy, and directly used branches to trap the roots of Tianyuan Shenmu no. Jiangji and the others also shot at the same time. Fengxi even secretly used the flame of spiritual power to burn the roots of the Tianyuan Shenmu. There are some demon plants around here, and they were also tricked by Fengxi into joining the battle. Although the main body cannot move, it can still be done if it can help in a small area. A new king is about to take the throne, and they are the founding fathers. Rush. The two sides fought very fiercely, and Fengxi also saw the huge gap in levels. Again, strength is the last word. After going back this time, she still has to practice hard. Try to cultivate the soil strid root as soon as possible. Doing mental calculations without intention, Tianyuan Shenmu no lost its opportunity, and no had 6 more monks, and finally lost its life. Tianyuan Shenmu no revealed its body after death, and Fengxi got 3 purple strid mushrooms. Tianyuan Shenmu no began to absorb the spiritual core of Tianyuan Shenmu no. Fengxi and the others were meditating beside them. Then, Fengxi fainted from bleeding from the 7 orifices. Fortunately, Jiangji and the others had seen this situation several times, and they didn't panic too much. After feeding her the medicine to restore her spiritual consciousness, Fengxi woke up. It seems that the coercion of Tianyuan Shenmu no still had a little influence on her. However, Fengxi soon discovered to her surprise that a small khaki-colored sprout had sneaked out of her danshan. The long-awaited soil strid root finally broke through the ground. For a moment, Fengxi was enveloped in great joy. However, she soon calmed down. The earth strid root is still very weak, so there are still some cracks on her danshan. Only when the soil strid root grows, the danshan will be completely healed. However, that day will come soon. Fearing that the other 4 spiritual roots would bully the earth strid root, Fengxi warned with her spiritual sense. The 4 spiritual roots immediately dragged the soil strid root and started to circle around. The poor soil strid root was almost torn off. Then, Fengxi discovered that it had grown a bit. Fengxi. This bastard was hiding clumsiness before. What evil did she do to meet this group of dogs? _left previous home index next _right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 123 How Lonely is Invincible. The strength of Tianyuan Shenmu no has greatly increased after absorbing the spiritual core. Even if it fights head-on, it is absolutely sure. However, Fengxi decided to come to Yin for the sake of safety. Wretched development, don't wave. Soon, Fengxi and the others followed suit and killed Tianyuan Shenmu no. Fengxi got another 3 purple strid mushrooms. After killing No and No, Fengxi already had 12 purple strid mushrooms in his hand. Before she had time to share her joy with Tianyuan Shenmu no, the scene in front of her changed. Their team passed the 7th level as number 1. But this time, the other groups haven't got a single purple strid mushroom yet. Even Shen Zhilin's group is still in the testing stage. Fengxi and the others were bored, so they could only start to meditate. Ugh. How lonely it is to be invincible. The faces of the melon-eating people outside Chang'an Banner were so hot that they didn't even have the intention to continue watching the other 3 groups. Only Xiao Beidao was smiling like an old camellia there. My apprentice has a bit of the style of my youth. Back then, I was so amazingly talented and famous in the Northern Territory. The time that followed seemed to be extremely long, and finally Shen Zhilin's group got 10 purple strid mushrooms through untold hardships. The other 2 groups were eliminated. The 12 people who advanced were all transported to a quaint hall. Both the blue bricks on the ground and the walls were carved with exquisite patterns. After a while, a voice that seemed to come from the ancient times resounded faintly. Congratulations on passing the previous test, you are qualified to receive the reward of the heavy treasure. Following its voice, 12 stone gates appeared on the wall, and the patterns on each stone gate were different. The voice continued. The jade badge you got at the 4th checkpoint is the key to Shimen, and there will be corresponding exam questions after entering. If you answer correctly, you will be rewarded with treasures. In addition, these questions also contain a heavenly energy. Those who are destined will get it. Let's get started now. Everyone immediately took out the jade tokens obtained from the 4th level and began to look for the corresponding stone gate. After everyone else went in, Fengxi took out a stack of jade cards. The melon-eating crowd outside the Chang'an Banner. Yup. Fengxi has a stack of jade cards. Then can't she go in and out of every stone gate at will? This. Off the spectrum. Xiao Beidao was about to grin to his cheeks. Opportunities are indeed reserved for those who pluck the wild goose. My good boy is going to make a lot of money this time. But this time, Fengxi entered the first stone gate in a hurry. Inside the stone gate is Xi. He was taken aback when he saw Fengxi, but after thinking about it, maybe their 2 jade plaques had the same decoration, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Waiting for Chang'an Banner to release the exam questions. 4 words appeared on the wall: Magic Sea Experience. Immediately afterwards, Feng Zai's spiritual consciousness was slightly stagnant, and he forgot where he was and what he was doing the moment before. She was lying on the ground, curled up into a ball due to the severe pain in her dantian. Shen Jilin held a linglong grass in her hand, looked down at her, with a sneer on the corner of her mouth. Just you, are you worthy of grabbing a chance with me? Fang Shi's sea of consciousness hurts, and she suddenly wakes up. Oh, this is the scene of Han Yuanzong's inner Sect's trial that day. This illusion is somewhat interesting. She jumped up suddenly, facing Shen Jilin with two big competitions. Give you paralysis. The illusion turned into a phantom. In another stone room, Shen Jilin also woke up from the illusion, with a very ugly expression on her face. She was actually slapped twice by that bitch Fang Shi in the illusion. Although it was fake, it also made her very humiliated. At this time, the voice sounded, Shen Jilin, the Heavenly Dao Qi mechanism has chosen you. As long as you pass the next test, you can obtain the Heavenly Dao Qi mechanism. Shen Jilin couldn't help but calmly wait for the next test. Fang Shi is just a stepping stone for her. Sooner or later, she will kill her with her own hands. At this time, Fang Shi had already received the reward for the first stone gate. Seeing that Si Che was still in the illusion, he happily ran to the stone room. This guy completed 10 assessments in one go and made a lot of money. Now there are only 2 stone gates left. One belonged to Shen Jilin, and the other belonged to herself. Without even thinking about it, she entered Shen Jilin's stone room. Shen Jilin, who was making talismans, saw her coming in, and with a shake of her hand, the talisman turned into flying ash. She gritted her teeth and said, Fang Shi, why don't you go to your stone room, what are you doing here? Fang Shi shook the jade tablet in his hand. I'm sorry, this is my stone room, and it's you who occupy the magpie's nest. Little Jua. Shen Jilin's face became extremely ugly when she heard the words, Dove occupying the magpie's nest. Fang Shi, don't talk nonsense here. The Chang'an banner has already stated that the Heavenly Dao Qi mechanism has chosen me. Get out of here. Fang Shi burst out laughing. It has nothing to do with me whether it chooses you or not, I'm here to get the reward. You are busy with yours, I am busy with mine, we have nothing to do with each other. Shen Jilin was so angry that she gritted her teeth, but now it is more important to complete the assessment of the Heavenly Dao Qi mechanism, so she had to calm down and draw the talisman again. Fang Shi walked around the stone room, but didn't see the exam questions. She took out 2 jade cards and played Allegro there. There are dozens of bamboo boards. Hey, let's not boast about anything else, let's just boast, Xiao Fang Shi of Xuanshnong. Xiao Fang Shi, she is kind and virtuous, like a flower. Shen Jilin shook her hand, and another talisman was invalidated. She was going to die of anger. Fang Shi blinked and blinked, you reward me with the treasure just now, and I'll go out. Shen Jilin. She gritted her teeth, and gave Fang Shi a heavenly defensive spiritual weapon that she had just obtained. Nothing can compare to the Heavenly Dao Qi machine. Fang Shi kept her word, and went out, then entered her own stone room. Since Qian Dao Qi mechanism chose Shen Jilin blindly, this so-called Qian Dao Qi mechanism doesn't matter. What she wanted was never this illusory heavenly aura. But, Chang'an banner. Joke. Who wants the old hen that lays eggs not to want double yolk eggs? Happy weekend, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 124 it turns out that they're running in both directions. As soon as Fang Shi entered her stone room, she heard that voice say. Fang Shi, your question is very simple, guess why I forcibly dragged you into the Chang'an banner? If the answer is correct, I will reward you with an earth-level defensive spirit weapon. If you answer incorrectly, you will return all the rewards you received to me. Now, you can answer. Fang Shi blinked her eyes. Can I refuse to answer? There was a hint of gloating in that voice. If you refuse to answer, it's the same as you got it wrong. The melon-eating crowd outside Chang'an's flag talked a lot. No matter how Fang Shi answers, Qian Kunban can say that she got it wrong. There is no solution to this problem. The Chang'an banner seems to be targeting Fang Shi. It doesn't seem to be targeting her. She had taken advantage of the loopholes in the rules by plucking her hair before, and Qian Kunban of course would not let it go. This time Fang Shi probably had to fetch water from a bamboo basket, and it was all gone. She doesn't even think about it, it's Chang'an banner's territory, how could it be possible for her to take advantage? Ellipsis. Bailey Muchen glanced at Xiao Beidao, feeling relieved. Just now Fang Shi went to Shen Jilin to make trouble, if it wasn't for the presence of demons, he would have talked to Xiao Beidao a long time ago. It's all over now, this little girl Fang Shi has reaped her own fruit. What Xiao Beidao thought in his heart was that if the reward is gone, it will be gone. As long as the little apprentice comes out safely, it is better than anything else. But this time, Fang Shi said slowly. There is only one reason why you dragged me in, to follow the way of heaven. This is destiny, this is destiny, this is the arrangement of heaven. Chang'an banner. People who eat melons. Hu Wankui, the head of Yushimen, couldn't help laughing. This little girl Fang Shi is 2 thieves. She attributed the reason to the way of heaven, and Qian Kunfen couldn't refute it no matter how hard she tried to find fault. It can't be said that it is against the law of heaven, can it? Chang'an banner was speechless for a long while. I don't know if it was because it was angry, the ground of the stone room trembled slightly. Let's say you got it right. Then do you know why Tian Dao Qi Ji chose Shen Jilin and not you? Fang Shi blinked and blinked, because there is a better reward for me, right? Don't hide it, give it to me. Chang'an banner, I have never seen such a brazen person. Fang Shi, it seems that you don't have a clear understanding of yourself. Your dantian is damaged, but you still have 5 spiritual roots. No matter how hard you try, you will not be able to succeed in cultivation. Therefore, there is no comparison between you and Shen Jilin, you are so different. Fang Shi nodded. I don't agree with what you said earlier, but what you said later is quite right. Shen Jilin and I are really different. I am Yoon, she is mud. Chang'an Banner. Before it could speak, Fang Shi continued. I don't know if you are congenitally deficient or you are not working hard enough, your understanding of the way of heaven is very biased. Do you know what this sentence means? Heaven and earth treat everything in the world with the same attitude. Whether it is a genius or a waste, they have the same chance to achieve a positive result. Besides, do you know what a genius is? Everybody is good for something. As long as you are confident enough, everyone is a genius and can understand their own way. Therefore, your so-called genius trash just now is pure nonsense. You should read more books when you have time. After Fang Shi finished speaking, if she felt something, she began to meditate cross-legged. She has an epiphany. Chang'an Banner. People who eat melons. Can the runoff person give himself a run on epiphany? Unprecedented. Scorpion Barber is the only one. Before, many people were quite envious of Shen Jilin's getting the heavenly Dao Qi machine, but looking at it now, Fang Shi seems to be not bad. After all, epiphany is a good thing that can be encountered but not sought. Xiao Beidao really wanted to be reserved, but the corners of his mouth had thoughts of his own, and he grinned directly to his ears. It's just, isn't the little apprentice a four-spirit root? How did Chang'an say that she is the root of 5 spirits? At this moment, the light curtain suddenly became pitch black. Xiao Beidao's smile froze on his face. How is this going? Others are frying pan too. Some people speculated that after Fang Shi's epiphany, the aura of heaven and earth was involved, so it had an impact on the light curtain. It is estimated that after her epiphany is over, the light curtain will return to normal. For the time being, everyone can only believe this statement and wait anxiously. In the stone room where Fang Shi was located, the spiritual power became mottled and messy, the ground trembled constantly, and there were piercing sounds. But Fang Shi is still enlightened, and has not been disturbed by these factors. Qian Gongban said angrily, Fang Shi, your master is dead. Fang Shi suddenly opened her eyes, and the anger in her eyes surged like a storm. If you talk about my master again, I will kill you. Qian Kunfen proudly said, I thought you were invulnerable to all poisons, but you are a benevolent fool of a woman. Fang's eyes flickered slightly. Did you turn off the light curtain? How do you know? Fang Shi snorted lightly. A person like you who is trying to catch fame, naturally won't let people see your ugly face. Tell me, what do you want? Chang'an Ban said coldly, give me the Shanhei Chang'an pen, and I will let you out. Otherwise, I will throw you into the formation and let you die endlessly. Fang Shi had guessed before that Chang'an Banner was related to Shanhei Chang'an Brush. After all, the two names were very close. Didn't expect it to be true. Originally, she felt that it was a bit unreasonable for her to miss Chang'an, an old hen that lays eggs, but now there is no psychological burden at all. It turns out that they are going in both directions. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 125. No way. Not even a window. Fang Shi curled her lips. Okay, I just want to die. However, I have to warn you about one thing. In addition to its own grade, the reason why the Chang'an Banner was born as a weapon spirit is also important, that is, the power of faith of the Formation Beast and Formation Yaoji. If you leave me in the Chang'an Banner, I promise to turn all these powers of faith into resentment. You can take a closer look. Has there been some changes? Chang'an Banner was horrified to find that its cultivation had really weakened a bit. In other words, what Fang Shi said was true. She made some array beasts and array monsters resented. If there is no power of faith, it will not be far from dissipating. At this moment, Qian Kun Banner had a realization. Fang Shi is a scourge, a big scourge. No matter what you say, you can't keep her in the Chang'an Banner. Even if you don't want the Shanhei Chang'an pen, you can't keep it. It was about to send Fang Shi out. Fang Shi said, don't be in a hurry to send me out. I have one more important thing to tell you. Qian Kunfen asked suspiciously, what important matter? Fang Shi said lightly, before talking about this, let's talk about something else. Have you ever thought about what is waiting for you after this instant is over? It must be endless sleep. Because the demons and humans are immortal, they will not cooperate easily to open you. There is no difference between your life and your death. Although Qian Kunban didn't want to admit it, he also knew that what Fang Shi said was true. I feel somewhat lost in my heart. It snorted coldly, you don't talk about these things, what are the important things you said? Fang Shi said slowly. Don't worry, I have one more thing to remind you. Shen Jilin is a well-known broom star. Every time she gets a chance, the people around her and even the sect will be unlucky. So, once she gets the heavenly Dao Qi mechanism, you will definitely be in bad luck. If you don't believe it, you can read the memory of the disciples of the human race to verify my statement. Qian Kunfen said that Fang Shi was nonsense, but secretly began to read the memories of Muzawa and others. Then I felt a little lost. It said anxiously, hurry up and tell me what the important thing is, or I will send you out. Fang Shi showed an extremely bright smile. If you don't want to fall into a deep sleep again, if you want to get rid of the bad luck Shen Jilin brought to you, make a contract with me. It just happens to be a companion with Shanhei Chang'an pen. Chang'an is happy. After talking for a long time, your ultimate goal is to make a contract with me. No way. Not even a window. Simply delusional. It was about to scold Fang Shi, when she heard her say. Of course, you can disagree. But after I go out, I'm not allowed to say anything to those people of the demon race. For example, if you reveal the secrets of the sky, it may bring about a thunder disaster. For another example, you are the greatest opportunity, and you can only get this opportunity by going into the furnace and refining. At this time, the melon-eating crowd outside the Chang'an Banner was surprised to find that the Chang'an Banner had turned green. Chang'an Banner is almost going to die of anger. It didn't doubt what Fang Shi said at all. Because she can even talk about formation beasts and Yaoji, those idiots of the demon race might really believe her nonsense. But make a contract with her. This is too humiliating. Feng Shi guessed what it was thinking, and said, "Do you think that making a contract with me has humiliated you? Then have you ever wondered why Shanhei Chang'an is here with me? Have you ever thought about why Shen Jilin, a so-called genius, is so afraid of me? There is only one answer. I'm the real genius, the real man of destiny. Only I can give you a bright future." Chang'an was still hesitating, but Feng Shi painted too many cakes. So much so that it got hot-headed and agreed. "Either way. Since Shanhei Chang'an has chosen her, then I will sign a contract with her for the time being. Anyway, her consciousness is much weaker than mine, so it won't be too late to forcibly terminate the contract in the future." It was about to sign a contract with Feng Shi, but Feng Shi refused. "Not yet, although you are a thing without an owner, you were brought by the demons after all. If I sign a contract with you now, it will harm your reputation, they will say that you are immoral and corrupt. Chang'an, you know exactly who you will say. So, for the sake of your reputation, let them take the initiative to give you to me." "Chang'an, you seem to be talking nonsense," Feng Shi said with a smile. "After going out for a while, you..." After hearing Feng Shi's words, Chang'an fell into deep thought. Shanhei Chang'an chose her because she has a bad stomach. Do nothing. But this time, Shen Jilin had already obtained the heavenly Dao Qi mechanism. She was ecstatic. With this heavenly energy mechanism, she could form alchemy just around the corner. When she is teleported out in a while, she will definitely become the focus of attention. Feng Shi is nothing but an opportunistic clown. At this moment, all the disciples who participated in the trial were ejected from the Chang'an. Everyone else landed safely, only Shen Jilin fell like a dog. Luckily she fell on a rock, her face was covered in blood. The attention she originally envisioned was realized in another way. However, everyone's attention was not on her, because Chang'an suddenly became dim, and said in a trembling voice, "Because I leaked the heavenly secret, I will be punished by the heavens immediately. Therefore, I must make a contract with one of you right away, only in this way can I survive the tribulation thunder. Shen Jilin, you have obtained the heavenly Dao Qi mechanism, you should bear the karma, you sign a contract with me right away." After saying that, the Chang'an flew in the direction of Shen Jilin. Shen Jilin couldn't care less about the embarrassment at this moment, so she ran away in a panic. "Qian Kunban, this matter has nothing to do with me, you should choose someone else." The Chang'an flag seemed to be weak in spiritual power, so it moved slowly, and was avoided by Shen Jilin. It turned to fly to Li Nangxi, the left protector of the demon emperor. "You brought me here, since Shen Jilin is not willing, then I choose you." Li Nanek frowned and avoided the Chang'an. "What are you kidding? How could he resist the thunder for it?" Seeing that he dodged, Qian Gumban had no choice but to rush towards Ying Chanli, the elder of the Shadow Demon clan. Of course, Ying Chanli wouldn't suffer from this, and avoided it. There is one more chapter. After finishing writing, it will be posted at about 1 o'clock. Close black lens bracket. Chevron _ left previous home index next chevron _ right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 126. Chang'an chased for a long time without catching up with anyone. It suddenly turned a corner and rushed towards Feng Shi. Because Feng Shi just had an epiphany, she is meditating and adjusting her breath. "Feng Shi, you have received so many rewards from me, you should make it up to me." Chang'an's speed this time was extremely fast, and by the time Xiao Beidao realized it, it was already too late. Chang'an and Feng Shi have already started to form a contract. If it is interrupted at this time, it will cause huge damage to Feng Shi's spiritual consciousness. In a moment, the contract is completed. Almost at the moment the contract was formed, a thunder fell from the sky. "Feng Shi. I'm just talking nonsense. Why is there really thunder?" Xiao Beidao stood in front of Feng Shi, ready to catch the thunder for her. Jiang Ji, Zhongwen and Xing Wu also hurried over. But their speed was too slow. Before they reached the place, the sky thunder struck down. However, it didn't fall on Xiao Beidao's body, but on Feng Zai's body with all kinds of crutches and 8 crutches. Ah. If Jilei strikes the wrong person, what face will he have? Feng Shi was directly chopped into coke, and fell to the ground with a choke, life or death unknown. Chang'an was scared to death. It turned out that what Feng Shi said was true. Shen Jilin is a broom star. Whoever gets involved with her is unlucky. If it wasn't for Feng Shi, I would be dead this time. The reluctance of the previous heart disappeared without a trace in an instant. Feng Shi is indeed my future and my light, the only light. At this time, the scene was in chaos. Xiao Beidao's heart was twisted like a knife. The apprentice who was alive and kicking just now is dying. It's all because he, the master, didn't protect her well. If he had known this, he should have taken the initiative to make a contract with Chang'an, so that the little apprentice would not encounter this catastrophe. Jiang Ji, Zhongwen and Xing Wu burst into tears. If a person is struck by lightning like this, I am afraid that there is really no way to save him. Hu Wangkui and the others also had expressions of grief. Feng Shi is a good boy, but his life is too hard. First, the dungeon was damaged, and finally recovered, and now it was struck by lightning again. It's true that good people don't live long. Even Ying Filong and Si Xian had expressions of sadness on their faces. Excitement flashed in Shen Jilin's eyes. This bitch Feng Shi is finally going to die. Should. It's time to die. Lu Shuhan, who was standing beside her, also had an excited face, a good death. She should have been killed before the apprentice conference. No one knew that Feng Shi was floating in the air right now, looking at her scorched black body with a dazed expression. How did this become a Piao again? Although she missed the days of being a Piao very much before, but now she doesn't want to. No, this time is different from last time. Last time, he turned into a Piao, but now his soul seems to have left his body. It's not because she came here wearing a book, so it's like this. It's really possible. There is a heavenly energy mechanism in the Chang'an flag, and it is likely that the heavenly way has sensed her through it. That's why he wanted to smash her to death. This time, it's probably really going to be over. Maybe the skeleton in the deep ravine has a solution, or else try to float over there. But she found that there was no way to get too far away from her body, and it was really different from the last time. At this time, in Fengxi's danshan, 5 spiritual roots formed the shape of starbursts, and the gentle spiritual power instantly spread throughout the limbs and bones of the body. The floating, Fengxi, was also sucked into the body by a huge suction force. After a while, she opened her eyes. Master. Xiao Beidao was overjoyed immediately, and his hanging heart was finally let go. At this time, Fengxi also saw the star formation in the danshan, but because the earth sprit root was too weak, the star formation was a little tilted. She guessed that her soul's return to the body should be related to this star ray. Maybe this star ray helped her hide from the heavens, or there might be a second thunderbolt coming down. Just as he was thinking, the star ray dispersed. The 5 spiritual roots formed a ball. Fengxi's danshan throbbed with pain. Fengxi. Damn thing. Under Fengxi's death gaze, the 5 spiritual roots finally stopped. She withdrew her consciousness from her danshan, and said in grief and indignation. Guardian Li, the Chang'an banner was brought by you. I was sucked in by it perfectly, and now I was forced into a contract by it to block the thunder disaster for it. Shouldn't you give me an explanation? Li Ninek's eyes flickered slightly. Fengxi, what you said is wrong. I have already said that if something unexpected happens, you human race should not blame our demon race. If you want to explain it, you should find the head of Bailey. After all, if Shen Jilin hadn't obtained the heavenly energy, it wouldn't have affected you. Fengxi heard the words and looked at the head of Bailey. Sect leader Bailey, what Hu Li said is correct. All the benefits have been taken by Shen Jilin, but she is unwilling to block the thunder for Qian Kun banner. That's why it hurts me. Shouldn't you give me an account of this victim? Xiao Beidao immediately echoed. Shaoxi is right, she was implicated by Shen Jilin. You Hunyuanzong must give my apprentice an explanation. By the way, last time you owed my apprentice more than 9,000 million spirit stones, let's give it together this time. Bailey Muchen. Don't call him Xiao Beidao anymore, just call him Qian Chuanzi. Immediately, there was a lot of wrangling, and it was very troublesome. Li Ninek looked at the scene in front of him with contempt in his heart. Although I didn't gain much from this visit, I still have a good understanding of the current situation of the human race. The human race is nothing but a mess of loose sand, nothing to be afraid of. Although it hurts to lose the Chang'an banner, it would be nice if Xuanshnong and Hunyuanzong could have a rift. It's better to fight directly. But what he never expected was that Fengxi suddenly said. Master, although Shen Jilin is not benevolent, I can't be unrighteous, and I can't affect the relationship between our two factions because of this matter. Besides, at least I contracted the Chang'an banner, which is considered to be an advantage. So let's forget about this matter. I consider myself unlucky. As soon as this remark came out, many people present gave their thumbs up. No wonder this child Fengxi is called a model of the human race. Nothing to say about character. In comparison, Shen Jilin is too selfish, far worse than Fengxi. Shen Jilin almost vomited to death. But she was really at fault for this matter, so she could only bow her head and remain silent, hating Fengxi to death in her heart. The joys and sorrows of human beings are never connected. Fengxi is extremely beautiful in her heart now. Today is the brightest cub in the audience again. Do not accept the fight. This product is beautiful. The sour voice of the little black ball came from the consciousness. Master, congratulations on accepting another good baby. Hey. From now on, you will hold the soul-calling flag in your left hand and the wooden sword in your right hand. You will feel like a fairy. Fengxi. God is so immortal. A proper image of a bluffing and deceitful magician. Good night, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 127. You won't run with long legs, will you? When Fengxi was speechless, Li Ninek said. Fengxi, although I have learned about some things about Wuming City before, some details are not very clear. Why don't you tell me more about it? Fengxi nodded. All right, after we entered Wuming City that day. Speaking of this, her face showed pain, and her body arched like a small shrimp. Li Hufa, my danshan hurts badly. I will tell you after I rest. Seeing this, Li Ninek couldn't ask any more questions. Fengxi was carried back to the guest house, and everyone else also returned to the guest house to rest, because during this time, both the experienced disciples and the Melanitas were very tired. Soon, only 4 of them, master and apprentice, were left in Fengxi's room. Fengxi said to Xiao Beidao. Master, don't worry, I'm fine. I was afraid that what I said would be different from what others said before, so I presumed that my body was uncomfortable. How did we talk to the demons before? Xiao Beidao breathed a sigh of relief, and repeated what Qin Shifeng said that day. Fengxi nodded. Then I know it in my heart. Master, I discovered a big secret. Fengxi immediately told about what happened below the deep ravine. Of course, she didn't say anything that couldn't be said. It only said that after she put the sword in the skeleton's hand, she was teleported out. Xiao Beidao was extremely shocked. You mean, the magic circle under the deep ravine is suppressing a kind of grey mist? The human-eyed blue moth and the ghost fire mysterious aphid also escaped from the deep ravine. After getting Fengxi's affirmative answer, Xiao Beidao said. The matter is very important. I have to call the head of Bailey and the others over immediately. The 3 of Bailey Muchen arrived soon. Fengxi said again what she said before. The 3 of them also looked horrified. Although I don't know what the grey mist is, but since it can turn Feng Shi into a soul state, and there is a magic circle to suppress it, it must not be a good thing. It stands to reason that, as the heads of the 4 major sects, they should know a lot of secrets, but this is not the case. At the beginning, the Yunshao sect in the Northern Territory was a super sect, and both resources and classics were in the hands of Yunshaozong. With the downfall of the Yunshao sect, many classics were also destroyed. Therefore, a large part of the historical data of the Northern Territory is missing. They didn't suspect that Feng Shi was lying, because Feng Shi's people were set up too well. Even Bailey Muchen didn't have any suspicions, although he knew that Feng Shi was greedy for money, a chicken thief, and thick-skinned, but this girl must have no problem with the general direction, and would not tell such a big lie. Feng Shi hesitated for a moment and said, "Master, the 3 heads, I have a guess. I don't know if I should talk about it or not." Hu Wankui said carelessly, "You child, we all say what our own family has, and we don't have so many scruples." Only then did Feng Shi say, "According to inference, the skeleton should have a sword in its hand, but what about the sword? You can't run with long legs, right? I heard some people from Hunyuanzong say that ever since Shen Jilin got the Fei Hong sword, strange things happened frequently at Jianshan, there were whimpering sounds, and ghost shadows floating around. I speculate that these strange things are the movements made by the human-eyed blue moth and ghost fire black aphid when they escaped from the deep ravine. Therefore, I think Shen Jilin's Fei Hong sword is the original sword in the skeleton's hand. As for whether she was unintentional or intentional, it would take careful interrogation to find out. If it's unintentional, that's fine, at most it means that she is a broom star. If it is intentional, then the problem will be big. She is even more harmful to us than the demons. After all, there are not only the bones of our human race but also the bones of many demons below. It shows that the grey gas is very deadly to us humans and demons. Of course, I have a personal grievance with Shen Jilin, so it's inevitable that I have some personal emotions when I say this. You should think it over carefully." Bailey Muchen's first reaction was that Feng Shi was slandering Shen Jilin. But after thinking about it carefully, the strange incident at Jianshan really happened after Shen Jilin got the Fei Hong sword. Shen Jilin's process of getting the Fei Hong sword that day was also different from others. Before she started to comprehend the power of the sword, a rainbow appeared in the sky, and then she had an extra sword in her hand. And because the radiance of the Fei Hong sword was too strong at that time, no one could see where the sword came from. Could it be that it really flew out of the deep ravine? He gritted his teeth and said, "These are just speculations." Taking a step back, even if the Fei Hong sword is really the sword in the skull's hand, it must have nothing to do with Jilin. It was the sword that chose her on its own initiative. Feng Shi just smiled and didn't speak. Zhang Wen beeped softly, "Then why did you choose her instead of someone else? Flies don't bite seamless eggs." Before Bailey Muchen had an attack, Xiao Beidao said with a stern face, "Shut up, you don't have a place to talk here." Zhang Wen shrank his neck and remained silent. "Anyway, that's all there is to say." Lu Zhengquan coughed. "Master Bailey, the matter is very important. No matter whether the Fei Hong sword is the sword in the deep ravine, call Shen Jilin over and ask." Bailey Muchen had no choice but to have someone call Shen Jilin over. As soon as Shen Jilin entered the room, Feng Shi sneered first and said, "Shen Jilin, the Fei Hong sword was originally in the deep ravine. Why did it come into your hands? Explain, who in the world ordered you to take this sword?" A look of panic flashed across Shen Jilin's face. "This is Fei Hongjin taking the initiative to choose the master. What does it have to do with me?" Bailey Muchen's heart skipped a beat. Shen Jilin's answer undoubtedly meant that she had known for a long time that the Fei Hong sword came from the deep ravine. Shen Jilin also belatedly realized that she had been tricked by Feng Shi, so she hurriedly added, "Master, I only became suspicious after hearing about the strange things about Jianshan recently, and I wanted to wait until the demons left before I would tell you about it. If you don't believe me, I can swear to Tianming that I was not instructed by anyone to seize the Fei Hong sword. If you violate this oath, let me be hit by thunder and bombardment, and die a terrible death." Feng Shi chuckled. "It's really interesting that you made this oath. You only said that you were not instructed by others, but you didn't say whether you took the Fei Hong sword on purpose." Shen Jilin gritted her teeth. "Feng Shi, you were purely picking bones. In the Chang'an banner before, you obstructed me from obtaining the heavenly Dao Qi mechanism, and now you are framing me. What is your intention?" Bailey Muchen said with a sullen face, "Enough. Stop making noise." He looked at Shen Jilin with complicated eyes. Regardless of whether Shen Jilin took away the Fei Hong sword on purpose or not, she almost caused a catastrophe. Bailey Muchen said to her with a gloomy face, "Jilin, you just got the heavenly Dao Qi mechanism from the Chang'an banner. You should practice in seclusion during this period of time." These words are equivalent to grounding Shen Jilin. Shen Jilin bit her lip and nodded, then went out with red eyes. _left previous home index next _right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 128 can hold mountains and rivers, can hold the sun and the moon, can hold everything in the. After Shen Jilin went out, Bailey Muchen said to Xiao Beidao and the others, "Although Jilin is a little narrow-minded at times, she won't do things that are not good for the human race. And there is no conclusive evidence now, so I temporarily ground her for the sake of my face. If I really find conclusive evidence in the future, I will definitely not defend my shortcomings." Xiao Beidao said meaningfully, "Master Bailey, I still say that character is more important than qualifications. You pamper her so much, be careful raising tigers." Bailey Muchen's expression was very ugly, but he had no choice but to remain silent. Feng Shi blinked her eyes. "Sect leader Bailey, it's not that I speak harshly, Shen Jilin is really a bastard. In the future, don't let her participate in some important matters of our human race, and it's best not to let her know, so as not to cause bad things." Hu Wankui nodded. "Shaoxi is right, be careful sailing for 10,000 years, let her be isolated from the outside world for the time being." Bailey Muchen's expression changed a few times, but he finally agreed. To be honest, he is now somewhat suspicious of Shen Jilin. Once or twice is a coincidence, why every time she gets a chance, someone will be unlucky. Isn't this the broom star Feng she was talking about? Anyway, let's talk about it for a while. Shen Jilin, who returned to her residence, was so angry that she smashed the things in the house to pieces. An old man like Bailey Muchen would rather believe what Feng Shi said than her. Fortunately, she is still respectful to him on weekdays. After losing her temper, she calmed down. She wants to form a pill as soon as possible. As long as she succeeds in forming the alchemy, Bailey Muchen will definitely value her again. No matter how insidious Feng Shi was nothing but a waste in the qi refining period. Sooner or later, she will kill her with her own hands. On the other side, Bailey Muchen and others began to study the next step. The first, and the most important thing, is to strengthen the patrol of the deep ravine, and not let any troubles go unnoticed. Second, find a way to find out the origin of the grey fog and magic circle. Third, find an opportunity to test the demon race and see if they know about it. Feng Shi weakly raised her little hand. Master Bailey, Shen Jilin obtained the treasure of Cloud Firmament Sect before, maybe there are relevant records in it, you might as well ask her. Of course, I think she will definitely say no. If there is, wouldn't it contradict what she said before? Well, your apprentice is really too bad. It's a pity that we have no fate. If you had accepted me back then, you would definitely not have these troubles now. Bailey Muchen. After everyone left, Feng Shi began to do ideological education work for Qian Kun Ban. The Chang'an Banner was crying bitterly when she said it was an enemy of such a kind and great master before, it is too insignificant. In the future, it will definitely atone for its sins and charge forward like an ox or a horse for its master. Feng Shi felt that the heat was almost ready, so she said, Xiao Fan, you should have a lot of good things in your hand, right? It's not safe to keep them with you, so let me keep them. Qian Kun said with a twitch, Master, you have taken away all my treasures, otherwise I would not have asked you to return the reward to me. Feng Shi, not at all. Just a few worthless bottles and cans left. Feng Shi gritted her teeth, then do you have any means of attack? The Chang'an Banner became energetic, of course. I am the Chang'an Banner, which can hold mountains and rivers, the sun and the moon, and everything in the world. Feng Shi, why do these words sound so familiar? By the way, Feng Shashan painted cakes like this for me back then. She gritted her teeth and said, tell me in detail, how do you pretend? For example, when you are fighting with people, Master, I can suck you into the Chang'an Banner, and then I will let the formation beasts help you out, so you can kill some of you. When my level is higher, I can not only absorb 2 people, but also the entire sect. Feng Shi was overjoyed, this ability is not bad. Then I heard Chang'an Banner say. However, I spent too much cultivation this time, so I have to slow down. Master, don't worry, it won't take too long, decades will do. For you monks, it's just a snap of your fingers. Feng Shi. Dare I be busy for a long time, and come back with a piece of trash? Qian Kun Ban noticed Feng's eyes' emotional change, and said quickly. Master, if it's an emergency, I can also risk my life to help you get people into the Chang'an Banner. But in that case, I may have to sleep for a while. Feng Shi had to make do with this, after all, it was equivalent to one more chance to save her life. In the sea of consciousness, the little black ball and the little fat bird looked at each other. A waste snack, nothing to worry about. Feng Shi checked the situation of the fire-swallowing beast again. Good guy, this guy is still sleeping, and snoring loudly. Feng Shi counted the rewards she got in Chang'an Banner, and then took out some earth-type spiritual plants to chew and eat. The soil strid root is too weak now, she has to replenish it. Then I saw 4 other spiritual roots forming too. Little love hearts. Feng Shi. She had to eat some other spiritual plants. Although these spiritual roots are relatively dogs, they can really save lives at critical times. But this time, a small black ball popped up to increase the sense of presence. Master, why hasn't Hunyuanzong found out about the theft of the treasure house? Their security work is not in place, right? Feng Shi thought it was normal. Hunyuanzong's treasure house is patrolled day and night, and the treasure house has many formations, so there is no need to go in and patrol frequently. It is estimated that it will only go in once a period, and there must be many people present, so as not to be guarded by others. Thinking of the treasure house, she sighed. Although I have gathered a lot of wool in the Chang'an Banner this time, I am still poor. However, the most urgent task now is to cultivate. Catch up with the progress of the soil strid root as soon as possible, so that the Danshan will be completely healed. After her Danshan healed, she had to think about foundation establishment. Ugh. After being a small trash in the qi refining period for so long, I feel a little bit reluctant to think about building a foundation. Chevron _ left previous home index next chevron _ right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 129 too bland, not tasty. Feng Shi practiced until midnight, and then began to rest. If she hadn't spent too much energy during this time, she wouldn't even plan to rest. Shen Jilin got the heavenly Dao Qi mechanism, and she might be able to form an alchemy soon, so she had to speed up her cultivation. The same is true for Zhun Wen and Jiang Ji in the nearby yard. They're senior brothers, but they rely on the junior sisters to win every time. They're so useless. In the future, as long as you don't die, you have to practice hard. Just as Feng Shi fell asleep, she heard noises and commotion outside. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be that something about the treasure house has been revealed? If it was someone else, he would definitely be too flustered to fall asleep. She yawned and went to sleep. Anyway, it was the demons who did it, and it has nothing to do with her half of the spread stone. At this moment, Bailey Muchen was about to explode with rage. It was not yet the day to inspect the treasure house, but because of the deep ravine, he felt a little uneasy, so he decided to go into the treasure house to inspect it temporarily. At this look, the nose is almost out of breath. There was a big gap in the pile of spiritual stones, and it was roughly estimated that at least 5,000 million spiritual stones had been stolen. Who did this? After searching carefully, they found a faint demonic energy, and immediately pointed the finger at the demons. He immediately invited Xiao Beidao and the others over and explained the matter. After he finished speaking, Lu Zhengquan, the head of Wangjianmen, said, "If the demons did it, why didn't they move other treasures?" Bailey Muchen frowned. "This is also where I am puzzled. I checked carefully, and it is true that only the Strud stone is missing, and nothing else has been moved." Lu Zhengquan continued. "In addition, the demons are not fools, so they must be the first to suspect them when something happens. How could they be so stupid? So, I don't think it's that simple." Bailey Muchen smiled wryly. "What you said is correct, but the Strud stone can't disappear out of thin air, right?" Hu Wangkui stroked his chin and said, "It's really possible to disappear out of thin air. I remember reading some records in an ancient book that some treasures would automatically absorb Strud stones after they were created. There are so many treasures in your Hunyuanzong's treasury, is it possible that some treasure absorbed the Strud stone? Of course, the possibility of this happening is very small, but you Hunyuanzong have been unlucky recently, so it might happen." Bailey Muchen, "How to explain the devilish energy? You also said that the demonic energy is very weak, maybe some spiritual weapon has been contaminated with some demonic energy from fighting with demons before, so it is like this." Bailey Muchen felt that this statement was a bit outrageous, but it seemed to be somewhat reliable. The four of them discussed it again, and in the end they could only come to this conclusion. After all, the possibility of the demons doing it is too small. There's no need to tear yourself apart with them over this matter. After Fangxi learned about this from Xiao Beidao, she was confused. This seems to be different from what she expected. Xiao Beidao gloated and said, "If you want to blame them for having too many Hunyuanzong treasures. Our Xuanshnong doesn't have this trouble. Fangxi, are you poor and proud?" However, she also discovered her own shortcomings through this incident. That is not greedy enough. If you get a few more treasures, this planting will be perfect. Ugh. No way, I'm just too kind, so conscientious. Can't do such a doggy thing. Everyone thought that the demon race mission would leave immediately, but they didn't expect the demon race mission to come and visit Xuanshnong. Xiao Beidao, back off, retreat, retreat. How many Strud stones do you have to eat from me? But considering the overall situation, he could only hold his nose and agree. The old man complained incessantly. These days have just started to improve, and the grandchildren of the Mizu came to eat the big family. Could it be that he was born without wealth? Since the demon mission is going, people from the other three factions will naturally have to follow. So, a group of people went to Xuanshnong in a mighty way. Xiao Beidao cheekily rubbed against the flying boat of Yushuman. There's no other way, the guests can't fly in the flying boat and the magic boat in front, and Yu Jian, the master, is chasing after him. On this day, everyone went outside the Xuanshnong mountain gate. Fangxi dawdled for a long time before getting off the flying boat of Yushuman. As soon as I got down, there was a slippery knee that was as far as 3 feet away. Everyone was shocked. What kind of exercise is Fangxi practicing? It's amazing. Xiao Beidao happily explained, Shaoxi is very respectful to the patriarch, he will kneel every time he enters or exits the mountain gate. This time I was probably too excited, so the range of motion was a bit large. Fangxi. She kowtowed 3 times respectfully, and then said, "Father Master, disciple Fangxi saluted you. Today, distinguished guests come to the door, it is reasonable to say that disciples should do the best to be a landlord and make everyone feel at home. But you also know that our Xuanshan sect is having a hard time right now. On weekdays, I split Bigu down into 8 pieces and eat it. How can I have good wine and food to entertain guests? Ugh. So this disciple decided not to go back to the sect for now. I will go hunting in the polar ice field, and get some good things for the distinguished guests to add a few dishes. Everyone. If we wait for you to come back from the polar ice field to add food, we will starve to death." Xiao Beidao said with a cold face, "Shaoxi, don't talk nonsense. No matter how poor we are, even if we tighten our belts, we can't neglect the distinguished guests." Everyone. Xiao Beidao, why are you getting more and more shameless? Hu Wangkui coughed twice. "Old Xiao, you don't need good wine and good food. I heard that your Xuanshnong's bacon is good, so let's eat this." Xiao Beidao looked ashamed. "What a joke, there is no way, our life is too difficult. But don't worry, bacon is enough. Hurry inside please." Everyone walked in front, and Fangxi followed behind. To the polar ice sheets. That is impossible. She was just stepping down the steps for Xiao Beidao, lest the old man slap his swollen face to pretend to be a fat man, and feel distressed afterwards. But it seems that there is not much bacon, let the cook put more salt in a while. Too bland and not tasty. Open black lens bracket good night, see you tomorrow. Close black lens bracket. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip, you can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 130 Fangxi personally created the new landscape of Xuanshnong. It has been a long time since Xuanshnong received large-scale guests, so it's not too busy to be in a hurry, but it's a little shy. Spirit fruit. That is not the case. Don't think that Fangxi just clicked when she was fine, it was all obtained by her own begging. There are only some low-level spirit fruits in the sect, and they're placed in other sects. It is estimated that even the spirit beasts are too lazy to take a look at them. The dim sum is also so-so, and the color and fragrance are not accounted for. When the banquet was set up, except for the seafood porridge sponsored by Fangxi, there was nothing else to be seen. Someone picked up a piece of bacon out of curiosity, and drank a bowl of cold water directly. Salty. When they checked into the guest house, everyone was even more dumbfounded. The beams and everything are installed now, and there is nothing in the room except a wooden bed and a set of tables and chairs. Compared with Hunyuanzong's guest house, this place is not even as good as a kennel. Now everyone finally understood why Xiao Beidao's master and apprentice had plucked their feathers. The Xuanshan sect is really poor. The next morning, Xiao Beidao originally wanted to invite Li Ninek and others to drink tea and discuss the Taoism, but Li Ninek proposed to take a walk around. Xiao Beidao was so worried. You can go to see the spirit beasts at the beast gate, and you can visit the ground fire in the alchemy room. Not to mention Hunyuanzong, they have a big family and a big business, and they can take out any place to visit. What does Xuanshan have? Going to see the Zhenpai beast. Pull it down. Have you ever seen a Zhenpai beast tied by a big iron chain? The cultivation base has degenerated to the nascent soul stage. Not shameful enough. To visit the alchemy room. How many alchemy rooms are there in total? In the end, Xiao Beidao had no choice but to bring the man to the front of the sword wall, so he could do it anyway. And there is a miracle of blessing of Xuanmu on it. Sure enough, everyone was very interested in this and stretched their necks to watch. Hu Wangkui, the head of the beast sect, said with emotion, as expected of a blessing from heaven, you can see that every stroke and every painting of this handwriting contains infinite mysteries. Liu Zhengkun, the head of Wanjianzong, also nodded frequently. Yes, not only the strokes have infinite mysteries, but also the size of these 4 characters. You can see that the word blessing is obviously slightly larger than the other 2 characters, just to highlight the word blessing. Li Nangxi and others also expressed some opinions one after another, deciphering various profound meanings of the strokes of the 4 characters, heaven's blessing. Fang Shi wrote these 4 words with her own hand. Zhengwen who knows the truth. After leaving Wanjianbi, Li Nangxi proposed to go to the place where Zhu Tianjue was hiding before. Only then did Xiao Beidao understand why the demon mission came to Xuanshnong, probably because of this matter. I have long heard that the major branches of the demon race are at odds with each other. Is this for fun? Xiao Beidao laughed and led people outside the mine. Because the Lingxi mine inside has been mined out, in order to prevent people from going in and out of danger, the entrance of the cave has been sealed. There is also a stone monument outside. Everyone was speechless when they saw the above content. What was written on it was probably Feng Shi's great achievements, such as the surprise attack on Zhu Tianjue, the discovery of the top-grade Lingxi mine, and the praise of Feng Shi into a flower. Of course, Feng Shi didn't set up this stele by himself. Well, she just hinted at Zheng Wen a few times, and Zheng Wen immediately asked someone to get this stele. Li Nangxi and the others did not go in, but stayed outside the cave for a while, and then proposed to go to other places. On the way to Nanfeng, everyone encountered a large piece of wasteland, where no grass grew. For the sake of beauty, a rockery was built on it, but it looks okay. Li Ninek asked curiously, Master Xiao, why is there still a wasteland here? Xiao Beidao laughed twice. When our Xuanshan sect was rich, there was a pond here, which was used to raise fish and plant various aquatic ornamental plants. Later, the Zongman's life was not well off, and there was no way to maintain the spiritual power here, and the pond slowly dried up. It is estimated that the previous aquatic spiritual plants absorbed the spiritual energy of the soil here, so it became a wasteland. Not to mention medicinal herbs, even weeds don't grow. Li Ninek nodded, I see. I usually like to study the rockery landscape. I think your rockery is very good. Can I go and have a look? Xiao Beidao said with a smile, Li Hufa, please. Please. Everyone came to the rockery immediately. In fact, it is a very ordinary rockery, nothing to see. However, Li Nangxi looked very interested and made some comments. Fang Shi thought to himself, people with high cultivation like to think things very complicated, even this broken stone can boast flowers. In fact, it is the kind of Taihu stone that is common in later generations, with edges and corners, and there are large and small holes on it. Seeing that Li Nangxi was still chattering there, bored, she poked her head into a hole and winked at Jiang Ji who was opposite. Jiang Ji. Forget it, junior sister is still young, so it's normal to be naughty. Then, Fang Shi's head was stuck. Open black lens bracket 1 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket 6 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket 6 close black lens bracket open black lens bracket small close black lens bracket open black lens bracket say close black lens bracket. It has become a new landscape for the birth of Xuanshnong. Many people couldn't help laughing out loud. That is to say, Feng Shi has a thick skin, and someone else would have died long ago. Jiang Ji and others rushed to rescue Feng Shi, but she was too tightly stuck, and afraid of hurting her, they dared not use force. After the discussion, Jiang Ji took out the straight sword and slashed at the rockery. Not hacked. Some demon disciples curled their lips. This Jiang Ji is still in the middle stage of golden core, and he can't even cut down the rockery. Jiang Ji had a fever on his face, feeling that he had discredited the sect. So when I went to chop again, I used spiritual power, but was bounced back. A spiritual barrier suddenly appeared around the rockery. Everyone was stunned by this turn of events. Xiao Beidao had an expression of disbelief. According to the records in the ancient books of the door, this rockery is just a very ordinary landscape, how could there be a spiritual barrier? Everyone couldn't help talking, and Bailey Muchen and the others even began to suspect that they had fallen for Li Ninek. He didn't look at anything else, but just looked at this rockery. He must have known that there was a problem. Li Ninek only started from his personal interests. Chevron underscore left previous home index next chevron underscore right. Tap the screen to use advanced tools tip. You can use left and right keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The whole sect is a dog licking, but the junior sister is a real dog. Chapter 131 Bigu Pill finally doesn't have to be split into 8 pieces.